live? I'm
I
not sure.
believe we're on, yeah.
Okay.
So we're on the Twitch thing. Hey,
All right,
welcome
cool.
in.
All right, hi. I am Mute Moso, and I'll be running Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, normal English today, and I have two commentators with me today, and I would like them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kirby. I've speedrun this game before.
Hi, I'm Raisins. I have not speedrun this game before, but I do stream Fire Emblem on Twitch, and I'm very pleased to be invited along with Mute. So, Mute, what is the category you're running, and what are the basic rules or settings that you've set up for the category so far?
It's just normal mode on the English version of the game, and the only reason I run on English is just because I don't have the Japanese version. But as we'll probably discuss, people don't really like the English version, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, we can just start whatever. Who really cares right now?
Yeah, let's get in. Time starts when you load this, or?
Yeah, time starts when I start this. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo!
Woo! Good luck, Mute.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, for those not familiar with the series, this is the first game. This is the first of the two Tellius games, and this is the first game that features Ike, which a lot of you probably know from Smash. So,
And
this game's on the GameCube.
And people who are super duper unfamiliar with the series, Fire Emblem is a tactical RPG. So it's a tactics game. We're moving units around on a grid-based battlefield, and it's an RPG because as our units fight, they will level up and they will gain stats. And the point of this game is to go through about 28 or 29 maps, I believe it is, and complete all of them as quickly as possible, leveling up our units and completing various objectives.
Technically 30 because the prologue counts as one, but you're on a one-off ding.
Yeah, clearly a complete noob here in the map.
Wow, gosh, when's the last time you played Path of Radiance? Jeez.
Probably over a year ago, actually, I won't lie. But, I mean, this is just the prologue map, and nothing is super complicated here, but as we go through the entire game, there are some general big picture things to keep in mind, as well as some things that Mute will pretty much always be doing. And why don't we go over a few of them, like leveling, like EXP distribution and fast enemy phase in particular. So Kirby Master, like EXP distribution, what's the main idea for that? Because we did just get a level. So how is Mute probably going to be distributing EXP over this run?
Yeah, so there's gonna be a unit we get later on named Marsha, but we're not gonna have her for about the first fourth of the game. So we're gonna be distributing as much experience as we can to Ike and some to Titania. Ike is the main lord who we just controlled, the guy in the red cape, and he's the main lord, and he's the main unit who has to get to C's tiles and stuff. So some of the map's objectives are C's, including this one, where our objective is to get Ike to the red tile up there. The other really important unit to note is Titania. She's the horse unit that's right above Ike in the red cape, and she's pretty much what a lot of people kind of call the Jagan, sort of, which is like a over-leveled early game unit that you have on a horse that's just carries you through the early game. In this game's case, she doesn't really fall off like typical Jagans. Like she still holds up okay through mid game and late game, but in a speed run, she's gonna be our hard carry for about the first quarter of the run, and then by the time Marsha takes over, Titania is gonna like slowly fall off in the speed run.
And the kind of pattern that we just saw in that map, where Titania does the bulk of the fighting, and then Ike lands on the point to kind of finish the map. That's sort of the pattern that we'll see for very many of the maps in this run as well. Except sometimes it will be Titania, sometimes it will be Marsha, sometimes it will be some other kind of unit here.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
So this map's objective is to route, which is to kill every last one of them. And we're going to try to feed kills to Ike as usual, because having a lord that's pretty competent is really useful. And what happens when you level up in Fire Emblem games typically is that once you get 100 experience, every stat has a chance of going up by 1 point. And Ike's growths are pretty good. They're all around the 50% range, which is relatively high by this game standards. But Mute is running this game in fixed growth mode, which is a mode you unlock after having beaten the game on your memory card. And it's kind of what it sounds like. All the level ups are fixed. There's kind of a little bit of a convoluted weird mechanic where you get like growth points depending on weapons and you use and stuff. We're not going to get into that. All you really need to know is that your stats will pretty much be on average, give or take a point, which adds to consistency for the run.
Yeah, and in particular, you just always know what stats you're going to have at any point. So even if in some ways it's disadvantageous because you no longer have the opportunity to get lucky, you just know what stats you have, and you don't have to think about, oh, do I have enough strength or do I have enough speed to do this thing? And you just kind of execute the run. It's very consistent and very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but fixed growth doesn't exactly mean that it's always the same. It's like really confusing to explain. So if we want to explain that later, we can. But
We'll worry about that later.
So yeah, I guess like I might as well ask, to what extent can RNG influence or help or harm you in this run? Because I did notice you kind of reacted to, I think it was Oscar got a miss on a Myrmidon earlier.
yeah, that is something that has literally never happened to me before. So that's why I was like, oh, what the heck?
An ill omen indeed. So
Yeah.
like, to what extent can RNG like really screw you over? Are there particular times or particular maps you need to watch out for where Mute will need to get lucky, or where Mute has a chance to get unlucky in this run, or what could happen?
Basically, this game and also like Radiant Dawn, well, the sequel to this game, are very reliable and that very little will ever go wrong. And in the case that something does go wrong, it most likely means that you like just lose the run. Well, not always, but a lot of the time. There's actually some things where it doesn't, but a lot of the time is what it means. But in this case, we would just reset. But there's like not very many cases where that could actually happen in this run, just because everything is so incredibly reliable that it is just almost never going to happen.
Is
This
there even
chapter, for
one?
instance.
Oh, this chapter, yeah.
Yeah. Our goal is to get Titania to bot the boss in the upper right corner, and depending on a certain mechanic named biorhythm, which we're not going to explain yet, Titania doesn't have 100 hit, and if she misses 1 out of 2 hits, then you lose a lot of time. In the PB attempt, personal best attempt, you would typically reset, but it's something you can get by with in a marathon setting. You just lose like a minute, I think.
Yeah, what a shame.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big
Yeah.
deal if it happened here. It would just be annoying if it happened, I guess.
Oh, by the way, Marsha's on this map, so she's kind of important.
Yeah, she's that flying girl in the upper left corner that's with the green circle. So we want to try to get Ike up to her and to talk to her, because that's the only way we have to recruit her. We can't recruit her now, but we do have to talk to her in this map.
Yeah, it
Or
does
to
recruit her,
self-recruit
but
later.
just not right now. But yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of the prerequisite steps to recruit her. Yeah, I think she like allied. Whoa, nice crit, thank you.
Nice.
I think she like tried to make some kind of alliance with these pirates in order to like find her brother, and then the pirates turned on her. What a big surprise! But yeah,
Yeah,
this is like the base level Martian, and she's kind of whooping butt. So imagine how well she's going to be in like 34 levels. from
What
now.
the heck? Okay.
Yo. That's actually kind of time saving because it skips animations and enemies moving next turn.
Yeah, it's rather handy.
And then Marsha does not attack on her phase because the AI doesn't want her to die accidentally or something, so she just doesn't attack ever on her phase.
And we also have 2 other flunkies. There's a sniper named Shinon. He's useful because he can't counterattack. And that's good because attacking his animations. And there's a big blue armor unit in the bottom right corner that Mute's also moving, named Gatry, and she's gonna move Gatry to the house to grab an elixir. This elixir is actually really precious. Like, I think it's the only one you get for like the first half of the game. 1 of 2, I think.
Yeah. And an elixir just heals your health all the way back up to full.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine there's some times where using that is kind of nice because it means you don't die.
Yep.
Oh, and I should have mentioned, this game does have permadeath, so if a unit dies, it's not like, you get them back next map or anything. You kind of have to, reset the run if they're important.
Mm-hmm.
Or intentionally kill them off if you want them to be dead forever, I guess. In some Fire Emblem games, that is the strat you use.
So in this map, Mute's gonna go ahead and abuse what's called the shove mechanic, which is a mechanic introduced in this game. And it's kind of what it sounds like. You get to use up a unit's turn to move another unit 1 tile. They need to have enough constitution or build to do it, and also not be mounted, so it gives infantry units kind of a nice niche. But she basically shoved Shinon a few tiles to get Shinon, the sniper, in range of the boss, because this is a defeat boss map, and the boss has a 2-range weapon, which is convenient because he's gonna attack Shinon at 2 range and then get countered, and then Titania can go ahead and finish off the boss on the next turn.
Yeah, you can imagine on a map like this with, like, I don't know, 21 soldiers or something, it's kind of nice to have a strat that counterattacks literally nobody except the boss, and then you kill the boss.
Mhm.
Seems like that'd be a really fast way to get through the map.
Right. And like this is Path of Radiance. You're saying that we can't turn off map animations, which is admittedly one of the criticisms for the game, given it's the first 3D Fire Emblem. But it is a factor you have to take into consideration in the speedrun, which is good and bad in a sense. But you have to take into consideration like, oh, this is unit counterattack, and does this counterattack help me? If not, I need to make sure I don't counter because that costs animation time, and so on. And that's why Shinon is really valuable in this case.
Yeah, definitely rounding out these kind of speedruns and figuring out, because there's benefits to counterattacking enemies, and then there's also benefits to not counterattacking enemies, and trying to balance that is rather an interesting equation. Obviously, when it's routed out, you just kind of like do the route, but actually playing the game and learning the route for yourself, it can be interesting to see in which circumstances you'd rather have a weapon equipped or not have a weapon equipped.
Yeah, in comparison, in most later Fire Emblem speedrun games, well, literally all of them, except for Radiant Dawn, you can turn off all animations, which essentially means that enemy phase time does not matter because nothing is actually happening in real time on enemy phase. You're just skipping all of it. So that changes how you route games a lot, definitely. So
ideally, Shinon gets exactly 1 crit, so you saved his animation, but whatever. Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, Titania's dodge animation is really dramatic. She's performing for the Oscars or something. So
yeah.
Yeah, for some reason dodging takes really long compared to just getting hit. So ideally you want to get hit instead of dodge usually, because you don't really need to dodge to survive usually in this game. So that's not really a concern.
So this is a defend chapter, meaning we can't end this map early. We have to defend it for 6 turns. And these tend to be really awkward to route in the speedrun because since you can't end it early, you have to route out how do you minimize time loss and minimize enemy movement. So what Raises is doing here, she's setting up a bit of a diagonal wall and some bait.
Because what Mute is doing.
Yeah. There's Shinon, who has another skill called Provoke, which is what it sounds like. It provokes enemies into attacking Shinon over other units. I don't think anyone fully understands how it works, but it works in this case, so just take my word for it. And you'll see what happens.
People understand how it changes the AI's evaluation of the combat, but because we don't know the weightings of each evaluation, there's still not really a reliable way to, given any arbitrary position, figure out where the enemies are going to go. But we've done this enough combats, and we've done this particular combat enough times that we just know what happens, right? So
yeah,
let's do the thing. So it looks like Ike is just gonna sit on the point with the vulnerary equipped. We're gonna kill this guy, and there should at some point be a second archer who moves into this position. So 2 archers will attack Shinon.
And for those not familiar with the series, archers can attack at 2 range, but they cannot attack at 1 range.
And very brilliant. So we see the archers are here in melee, and they are occupying all of the melee attacking squares, so no melee units can attack. And in just a moment, Shinon and this priest Riss will be removed, so none of the archers can attack anyone at 2 range, and they're occupying all the squares that can be used to attack at 1 range, so Mute just ends turn, and no one ever attacks or fights ever again.
We get to just enjoy watching enemy phase of nothing going on.
Yeah, the enemies are actually able in a previous game to be able to move back and let another enemy attack, but it's only in the case of something very specific. That sort of AI pattern was not really that common until Awakening, I think, where it gets a lot smarter. It was oh, the AI realizes this character, if this character moves out of the way, this other one can move in and kill someone. So
yeah, I learned that the hard way when grinding my Noir in Awakening.
That does not happen before those games.
Yeah, Fire Emblem AI is generally not very sophisticated, and kind of thank God it is, because the fact that Fire Emblem AI works exactly the way that it does is kind of what holds most casual runs together, at all ever. But understanding the AI and understanding what they will do under certain conditions is kind of pretty critical to the speedrun. Hey, why aren't the enemies moving here?
Yeah, so this is so in terms of the story, the enemies don't know you're here. They're just guarding the bridge. So as long as you don't end any units turn outside the woods, they don't move, which skips enemy phase, which is very fast. So Mute just kind of burned a few turns to sneak Titania over to the left side while carrying Ike, And this is an escape map, which is pretty similar to a Seas map. You end the map by having Ike reach the Seas tile or the escape tile at the bottom. The only difference is that you can escape with other units, yeah, which gives you bonus experience, which we'll get into that later.
Is that something you want to do? No, right? It just costs time.
I mean, no, it just costs time.
We get tons of
We don't
bonus
care.
experience otherwise, so there's like no point at all.
Yep. So one thing to note, we got a free speed wing, which is a permanent +2 speed stat booster, and Mute used it because Titania cannot double attack the boss of this map without the speed wing on fixed growth mode. And speed is important because in order to double attack, you need to have at least 4 more speed than your targets.
And if you don't have 4 more speed than you target, you definitely don't double attack. So it's not like a chance-based thing where maybe you can get lucky. Like you either have it and you do, or you don't have it and you don't. So you absolutely need those stats. Very briefly, I think we actually saw Titania use the rescue command for the first time in this map.
Yeah, so the rescue command just lets you carry someone. It's you do face a stat penalty while you're carrying someone, which will be relevant later, but it's kind of our main way of ferrying Ike around because he's our main lord, so we kind of need to get him to the end of the map each time.
Did you say defense penalty?
What did I say?
Well,
Stat
avoid-
penalty.
Yeah,
Oh.
stat penalty.
I guess I can't hear. Never mind. I thought you said defense. I was like, what? Okay, yeah, because it's a speed and skill penalty. But yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's technically some defenses, but also you're focusing on the run, right? So, you know, can't blame you for that. I know. How dare you pay attention to the run and not not every detail of what we're saying.
So Mute just moved Oscar into like a zone that kind of triggers a lot of enemies, a story trigger basically, which this is a route map and we have to hit the trigger eventually. So we might as well try to hit the trigger now, so we spawn all the enemy units immediately so we can start killing them more quickly. And that's also going to spawn Shinon and Gatry back in the upper left corner, and they're going to be helpful because the main issue with Titania, well, there's 2 main issues. 1, she doesn't fly, and 2, she is only 1 unit. She can't be everywhere. So we kind of need some flunkies to help clear out a few enemies here and there.
Like this very useful Mio, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Actually,
oh.
I was being sarcastic, but that never mind. She is being very useful.
Damn. I mean, dang.
So we kind of want to try to feed Ike experience here because bonus experience will actually be kind of tight later on. I think by like chapter 10 or 11 or something like that, because we really want to try to get Ike to a specific level benchmark. Just due to how the fixed growth mode works. We'll get to that later, but for now we kind of just want to keep an eye on Ike's experience and make sure he gets kills.
Mia recruits herself, very handy.
Yep, we don't have to waste a turn recruiting her.
Don't have to waste a turn doing anything else with Mia either. So,
When we actually attack someone with her, but yeah.
well, I was completely wrong.
Damn. Destroyed.
Mia haters in shambles.
So,
Yeah, we do have a mage called Soren who we can use, but magic animations are really slow in this game, so you want to avoid them at all costs. Hence why Mute's just blitzing this mage right now, because magic animations cost a lot of time.
there's a lot of weird lag there whenever you use that menu.
I think it's because the game just kind of loaded Shinon and Gatry in, so it's kind of loading their stats for the first time, something like that.
And they were
Also, it's to
invisible,
load that whole part of the map that you haven't looked at yet, maybe.
probably. Yeah. So Mia getting that crit there means that we didn't have to kill that soldier with Boyd, which is a chance to miss actually, because Boyd has some pretty bad hit rates. But you just don't get to see Boyd do anything, I guess, because
Poor
Mia
Boyd.
crit. Yeah.
No shame. Was that the only combat that Boyd would have ever done in the whole game?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember if he did any in chapter 1 it was.
Nope.
You did none. So Mia kind of just stole Boyd's thunder from him. Nice crit.
This is
Yeah.
a very
This is really
strange
good.
run so far.
Yeah, just
Yeah, this chapter is kind of a slog because like you have all these armor knights that Titania can sometimes kill, sometimes can't, and this is actually one of the bigger differences between the Japanese and English version is that the enemy stats tend to be higher in the Japanese version, and in this chapter's case, that makes a really big difference because it makes Titania usually able to go from usually being able to kill these armor knights to almost never being able to kill them. So you just lose a lot of time having these low HP armor knights running around.
Yeah, it's kind of really tragic in Fire Emblem speedrun in general when you get in a combat and fail to kill the enemy. It's especially tragic when you get in a combat and everyone attacks each other a million times and no one dies.
Yeah,
Then
it's like, what's the point of all that?
Yeah, you just spent a lot of time watching combat animations and are not any closer to finishing the objective of the map. So it's rather nice on this version of the game that, you know, Mute is one-rounding all of the enemies whenever she fights one. It's rather handy.
Well, sometimes Gatri doesn't, like he just didn't, but yeah.
No, well...
Mute technically lost a bit of time there, because sometimes Titania can one-shot that thief, sometimes she can't. Enemy stats are random in this game. They can vary by 1 or 2 points, typically. And that thief can roll 20 HP, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, Gatri...
And or 1 less defense.
Gatri one-rounding those armor knights is pretty variable. He doesn't always kill them, and also he doesn't always double them. He also doesn't always do half of their health in one attack, so like it can go a lot of different ways with those guys. That's probably the most variable it gets in the entire run, I think, is that right there.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot you had to kind of adapt to depending on how Gatri's and Shinon's combat works, because like you want to avoid finishing enemies with Gatri if you can help it because of its really slow animations. So you also want to like just know which enemies have which weapons, because Gatri can double attack some of them as long as he has an Iron Lance equipped. But if you have Steel Lance equipped, he can't double, but he does more damage, which can be good because that means you only need 1 hit to kill instead of 2.
Yeah, and it's not like you have time to go into the stats menu and figure out which one is the right one to use, right? You just kind of like...
You just have to know.
You just have to know and go for it, so...
And usually you have like Shinon pick off in the unit here and there because of its really fast animation, but turns out Mute didn't really need to.
I think Gatri
Shonon's animations. Go, please.
I think Gatri ends up being like the 3rd highest kills in the run at the end of the game. I don't remember exactly, but it's like this is like all the kills he gets in the entire run is in this map, but he's like 3rd or 4th, I think. So
it's like Marsha, Titania, Gatri, Ike. Wait, really?
Yeah,
I imagine.
He's like top 5 for sure. I think top 3 is like Marsha, Titania, Ike, but Gatri's probably up there.
Yeah, Gatri kills more than Leith. Leith kills like 2
enemies,
so more than her.
English version privileges, being able to kill these armor knights.
I mean, there's gonna be other things that are gonna not be privileges later, but sure.
Yeah. You take those when you're playing English version. You just be thankful for it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of advantages to the Japanese version of the game.
What are these?
Yeah, one of them we'll get to a bit later. Actually, maybe next map when we introduce the forging mechanic. So that's probably one of the more noteworthy differences between the two.
Yep, it'll be coming up in 2 maps. So after Mute bops his boss and finishes up this map, we're gonna have access to the base, which is kind of like your menu hub where you get to like talk to your party members, go to the armory and buy stuff. You get to forge stuff. You get to manage inventory. You get to distribute bonus experience. She's not going to be doing too much of that yet. I think she's going to be dumping a bunch of reward experience into Ike. Right? I think next chapter.
Yes.
But yeah, and bonus experience is kind of a form of currency you get, where you always get bonus experience every map. You get more if you clear it more quickly, and in some maps you get bonus experience for clearing side objectives. And when you have bonus experience, you get to distribute it to units it's basically just free experience you get to distribute. And guess who she's going to be distributing a lot of that experience on?
Mia, our favorite.
She also Mute just also equipped the Night Band on Ike. Bands are kind of a new game plus kind of feature only thing where most of them increase your growth rates of 2 stats by plus 5%. In fixed growth mode, that matters a little bit because it kind of gives you an extra point of defense like earlier as opposed to later and so on. And strength as well, and we really want strength and defense. So it does matter in fixed growth mode.
Yeah, and because it's fixed growth, like it's entirely predictable. So, you know, Mute wouldn't do this if it didn't matter, I assume.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I just kind of blindly follow the notes because I didn't make the run, but I assume it's there for a reason. It could just be bad, but I doubt it. I assume everything's for a reason.
Yeah, I think at some point we literally give Ike a free spin for resistance. It matters. It actually matters.
I don't think we do that in this run, at least. Maybe in the Japanese run.
Might be the Japanese version thing, yeah. I've seen it in both versions, so like I might be mixing them up easily. Don't mind me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ike just kind of got pretty buff. And this is a defend map, and you can guess what we want to do: minimize animations. So Ike has a pretty useful early game weapon called a Regal Sword, and it's a sword that's effective on mounted and armored units. And in this game, that's not super. When a weapon is effective, its might is typically triple. So like the Regal Sword has 7 might. So in most games, that would have 21 might instead, which is 14 extra damage. In this game, it's only ×2, which makes effective weapons a lot weaker in this game, which is good and bad. But it doesn't really matter in this case because it's enough to kill everything he needs to. So it's going to be doing just a massive amount of damage to all these cavalry.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you see that cav was left with 9 HP left over, so like, who cares if the sword does an extra 7 damage? You still 2-shot, right?
Yeah, in this case, you just 2-shot. And we're going to try to block off the choke points and mitigate animations on the left and right side, while Ike just kills all the mounted units at the bottom. The older strat used to just... Nice. The older strat used to have Ike... just only Ike deployed and just camp on the tile and just sit there and do nothing, which was fast, but you had the problem of all these mounted units just hitting and running you every single turn, and it turns out to be a lot faster to just kill all of them and then just block off the west and east choke points.
Yeah, it looks like what Mute is doing right now is just like needlessly complicated, but once all the enemies get into the positions that Mute wants them to get into, it'll be pretty clear. It's like, oh yeah, well, duh, this is what you do, right? Like, we'll see it in just a sec.
Yep. Nice level. We don't need to really get into the stats. When we have downtime, we can get into what the stats do, but we want to know where the most important one: speed, which is how you double attack.
Yeah, the most important ones are strength, which is how you deal damage, and speed, which is how you double attack. And they're important because if you don't have enough strength, then you definitely don't kill them. And if you don't have enough speed, then you definitely don't kill them. So
yeah, that sums it up.
You can just crit, but obviously this is not an RNG manipulated run, so we can't just get a 2% crit all the time and kill everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of the other stats will like maybe, you know, make you take less damage or be accurate, which, you know, while they certainly help with your reliability, that's less important than, you know, being short on strength or speed, in which case you definitely fail every time. So, but now Mute has, in this circumstance, locked an archer in on the left, so all of these enemies on the left side will never attack, and we've locked a single Armonite in on the right, which is about as good as we can do, right?
Yep.
You know, ideally
the archers are just too far away, so
yeah.
And just keep ending turn. Hooray, defend maps.
Has anyone ever went to the north part of this map? I've never done that. I don't know how you would.
I've never done that either, casually, because usually if I get aggressive, I usually just go south and clear that out. Because I think the boss drops something. I forget what.
It's either the boss drops a goddess icon, or I know the priest on the right has a stealable red gem or something, or no, a droppable red gem. Why would it be stealable?
Yeah, you kind of can't steal anything right now.
That'd be pretty troll, yeah. Just a stealable red gem.
But yeah, lore-wise, this is actually a pretty meaningful map lore-wise because spoiler alert, Ike's dad just died. And then now we're just kind of getting surrounded by all these enemy units, and Ike's kind of in a really desperate situation to protect his sister and to protect the mercenaries. So this is kind of like everyone's last stand at fighting for their life kind of map.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention something really significant happened in the story. Yeah, Ike's dad passed away, and so, well, I mean, passed away is kind of putting it lightly. Ike is now the leader of the Guerrilla Mercenaries and has to defend everybody and, you know, become the man, as it were.
Got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders all of a sudden.
It's funny how you're saying it's like the last time where we're just kind of like sitting here, like it's fine. Like all these dudes.
This is fine. This is fine. And then we got bailed out.
I know. Boss, what's the new strategy now that you're the leader of the Guerrilla Mercenaries? I'll just sit here with no weapons, bro. Just trust me. So, this is the forging menu.
Yep, so when you forge, you get to buy a new weapon and alter its stats at a higher price. And that's really valuable because you get to forge like 5 extra might on a steel axe, which is what Mute did. Forge a lot of extra hit or extra crit on her axe, which is really nice. And this is kind of where so we'll get into the forging a bit more later, but for now we have what we call yellow units here, the partner phase, and they're kind of units we don't have direct control over. But we don't want them to do anything because they just waste time. So Mute is just gonna command them to halt and do nothing. Meanwhile, Titania kills stuff. This is a seas map, so our goal is to get Ike to the bottom left corner. And this is a very important map because this is the map where Marsha joins us. Well, she shows up on this map only if you've talked to her back in like chapter 4, I think, chapter 3.
Yeah. So we have to wait for a bit to show up, and then which is like, oh, we're doing the map a little bit slower, but like obviously it's worth it because it saves like I don't know,
Too much time.
The entire rest
long
of
time.
the run worth of time.
Yeah, pretty much. So since we're like bottlenecked, like we can't end the map until Marsha joins. We're bottlenecked. So our goal is to kind of just hit and run with Titania and minimize how many animations happen because like it doesn't matter if Titania gets to the boss sooner, like 2 turns sooner, because we have to wait for Marsha anyways.
Yeah,
So-
there is this whole extra side objective of like the villages up in the north. There are a few side objectives that Mute is going to go for because even though like, you know, fundamentally they all waste time in a way. Some of them give a reward that is meaningful enough to be taken. Neither of these villages will, but a couple villages later on will give pretty meaningful rewards, and we'll kind of point them out whenever we get to these chapters. Villages and chests are usually going to be the things that give the things that give rewards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that poor archer. Have a surprise Titania. Boop.
Imagine just chilling and then Titania comes out of nowhere and, you know, stabs you with the javelin.
With a weird, gigantic, like N64 javelin.
Boop.
Yeah.
Weirdest
And that-
models.
We need to make sure people know this is a lance, right? So
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be
Really,
able to
really
know.
big lance.
let's make it this like comical McDonald's toy size thing, and people will know now.
Reminds me of
Nice spread.
how like the mounted axe knights or whatever, they have like their axe model is just like a sword model but with like an axe handle attached to it. It looks really silly. It looks like a pole axe, but it's like not. It's like weird I don't know, like making it easier to make the model. They just like repurposed the sword model, it looks like there.
Since we're just kind of waiting around, I guess we could just go into a quick difference explanation on the forging stuff again, because this is where the Japanese and English version have the big difference. So the Japanese version of the game, well, if you forge a 5 crit weapon, you can reduce crit by 3 to -1, but that underflows to 255 crits. So meaning you can forge 100 crit weapons on. You can forge slim lances, slim swords, and thunder tomes with 255 crit in the Japanese version, which is a really big deal. But it doesn't actually change the strats overall that much because ultimately you're doing the same thing. You just kill stuff at 1 range, and you also can't forge 1 to 2 range weapons with 255 crit for your physical units. The English version can't do this, so the English version is strictly slower for this reason, but the overall strats usually don't really change much, because usually if the Japanese version forges a 255 slim lance crit forge, then the English version would just use a forged steel axe or a forged steel lance instead, which is exactly what Mute did here.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh, what a tragedy, you don't have a guaranteed crit weapon. Well, you have a weapon that's like guaranteed to kill in 2 attacks, so it's still probably just as good. And
Yeah, it's
furthermore,
pretty much just a strict time loss, but
Yeah,
no strat changes usually.
the slim lance is useful, of course, but it does lack the 1-2 range. And the 1-2 range is important in many circumstances because it means that you can counterattack people who attack you in melee or who attack you at range. And, you know, as we stated before, if you kind of get into a combat with an enemy and you don't kill them, and you needed to kill them, it's pretty tragic because you just watched a whole animation and nothing happened. But enough on that. This is a stealth map, so how do you beat a stealth map?
You don't end your turn in any of those soldiers' ranges.
But it can't be that easy, right? Like, you have to also, like, break these guys out of jail, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Okay.
like the entire point of us coming into this prison was to get some more recruits from prison and break them out of prison, right?
Yeah, including this really important person in the cell right above us, you know? Not the robed guy, the blue soldier.
Yeah, there's some soldiers in the bottom right cell too. Well, it would be nice if we got them too, but I don't know. This might be really difficult.
I know that
Yeah, I
for
don't
this
know.
map, the fandom is like not really sure if like you have to, if you just open the door and it recruits them, or if you have to actually take them out of the map. Because I think on the wikis it says like you just open the door, but I don't know if that's actually true. But I would have to like actually try to figure that out.
It's
I
true,
believe
you
it.
just open the door.
Yeah, you just have to open the door in English version at least. Japanese maniac mode, you have to have them escape. I think in Japanese, normal and Japanese hard, opening the door is enough, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
I know. And
Yeah, they Japanese change it in maniac mode.
Japanese maniac mode. I mean, boy, imagine trying to get through that without Neffany, Kieran, and Braum, man. Like,
yeah. All right, we freed a lot of prisoners. That was a really productive map.
I know. Good thing we made a detour into this prison, you know.
Yeah, so doing that without getting detected is really important because we mentioned bonus experience, and you get bonus experience from side objectives. One of the side objectives here is to not get detected, ever. And you get, I think, 800 or 900 bonus experience for that. That's a lot.
Yeah. You also get out of the map really fast, so...
Yeah, that's a lot, and we also just got Marsha, and guess what we're gonna do with Marsha? Just pump her with a bazillion stat boosters, give her the night band for strength and defense levels, and have fun. Well, first off, we're just gonna go ahead and forge a super steel lance for her. And then enjoy.
Alright, see
That's
some
my new
level
to
up.
game.
It should be noted the reason that we're forging so many weapons is because in Fire Emblem, weapons do have durability. So whenever they hit an enemy, they reduce their durability by 1, and when they get to 0, they just break completely. So it's a mechanic that's in all but like a few Fire Emblem games, and so for that reason, we do have to keep on forging weapons. You can forge up to 1 weapon per map, and so on most chapters, you're going to forge, you know, a forged javelin, just for Marsha to attack at 1-2 range. Sometimes you forge a steel or a silver lance, but on most of the chapters, Mute is indeed going to forge.
This pink hair girl is getting a lot of experience.
Oh yeah, that's like 6 levels. Oh,
Yeah.
there's more.
Oh,
Never
there's
mind.
more. We're getting more.
Yeah, this takes literally 3
oh,
minutes
oh.
to do all these levels right now. I actually like kept track because I was like bored waiting for it. So like, oh, this is 3 minutes. Okay. I mean, also with like the 30-second unskippable promotion animation, that definitely adds something to it. Probably like the longest promotion animation in like any Fire Emblem game, maybe.
It's pretty long.
Actually, the newer games might have longer ones, but you can actually just skip those, so it doesn't really matter for speedruns, though.
Yeah, casually, forging is just a really powerful tool in general. It lets your super units be even just better and kill everything, or you can also use forging to help a weaker unit catch up, although you have bonus experience for that too. It just gives you a lot of extra options. Bottleneck, as Race has mentioned, being that you can only forge 1 weapon per chapter, and this being the English version of Path of Radiance, money isn't really a factor. That is one weakness in the Japanese version, is that Japanese version has a lot less money, and forges cost double. And that actually does hurt the speedrun.
You're in like poverty in the Japanese version.
Yeah, like that actually hurts the speedrun a lot because, like, yeah, sure, you can be like, oh, but you can forge 255 crit weapons in the Japanese version. Yeah. If you want a comparison, the English version doesn't sell any items ever, and can forge max stats on everything. The Japanese version has to sell every single band in the game, and it still doesn't have enough money. So it actually can't afford to forge like extra hit and crit on javelins.
I'm pretty sure the English version you could get like literally infinity money and it wouldn't change the strats whatsoever.
It wouldn't, because you have more than enough money for everything in the speedrun.
Oh, Marsha promoted, by the way. What's that mean?
It's kind of like a Pokemon evolution in a sense. You reclass to a higher tier, and just all your stats get buffed. Most notably, Marsha gets +1 move, so she has 10 move now. 9 move? 9 move. As a flyer. And now, we're gonna go ahead and pump Ike with even more bonus experience, because Ike needs to hit 12 defense, I think?
I don't know, it doesn't say what you do this for, but I just blindly follow it, so...
Fair enough.
And, yeah, routing Fire Emblem speedruns and playing Fire Emblem speedruns are 2 extremely different skill sets, and so... occasionally they're done by the same person.
Okay, so defense, yeah, 12 defense, there we go. I didn't remember if it was 12 defense, but yeah. There's a reason for that, and it's for this map. And it's actually pretty important to get Ike to 12 defense, and I'll explain that for this map. But for now, this is what the speedrun's gonna look like now.
For most of the rest of the game.
Yeah. Right. Escape map. Arrive map, actually. So an arrive map, there's only 2 of them in the game, I think. They're pretty much the same as an escape or a seize map, except instead of Ike ending the map, anyone can end the map.
I think there are 3 arrive maps in the game. There's this one, 17-2, and then whichever one you get, Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the number.
There's Shihan one, too. So there's 4, actually.
Ah,
so we're both
all
wrong. Cool.
Yeah. Mute would have got it first try, right? But, you know, she's busy doing the speedrun.
Yeah, she's busy. Okay, so we have to make sure that our path to the arrive tile is not blocked, and if Ike's defense is less than 12, then one of these Cavaliers will have a high chance of just moving and blocking you. Why? I don't know. It's linked to Ike's defense. So like for whatever reason, if Ike has enough defense, then like the Cavalier gets like spooked by his stats and moves away from him. But if he has less than 12 defense, then the Cavalier will sometimes not get spooked. This one right here, and then just like move to the left and block you. But with 12 defense, that Cavalier will always move away.
Wait, so with 12 defense, was the issue that what's the failure case? Having too much defense or having too little defense?
Too little.
Okay.
So that means the experience is just really tight to get Ike to 12 defense.
He gets scared from him having not enough defense? What?
Yeah, if Ike has too low defense, then I think the Cavalier just kind of moves left sometimes and blocks Ike from his left. And you're just kind of screwed. Yeah, don't ask me why, but 12 defense makes it guaranteed to not happen, so don't ask. Don't ask. I hope you're ready for boat maps.
That's right, we have 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. That's
Whoa.
like... We're playing Gaiden now. Oh, we were fighting Laguz enemies now. Did we ever like explain Laguz at all or no?
We never really did. We did get 2 Laguz units, but we never really had... They weren't really relevant. They will be relevant though. So like Laguz units are kind of like half animal, half human kind of forms in this game, and they're kind of their own separate entire race. And a lot of this game's theme is centralized around racism against Laguz or humans. They call them Berwark in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And gameplay-wise, Laguz kind of have a human form where they're kind of defenseless. They have their own Laguz gauge, where if they hit their Laguz gauge at 30 out of 30, then they transform into their Laguz form, or their animal form. All these hawks are in their animal form, and Laguz are pretty powerful in general. So, like, their downside is that they have a Laguz meter to manage.
The most relevant Laguz that we'll be getting in this run is probably Rayson, who joins later.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, know that there is kind of this race of shape-shifting humans in this world, and
We're killing them right now.
Yeah.
we're killing them all right now. So, to be fair, like Marcia's not a Laguz, so right, we're either fighting Bjork or fighting Laguz. There's not a whole lot of us using Laguz against Bjork in this run, I'm sure.
This is our out map, so we do have to kill every last one of them. Nice crit. And the boss is in the bottom right corner, and you're not supposed to really have a flyer that just flies around and kill everything, but we kind of have one, so like that's kind of nice.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, and we can just kind of end the map on what, turn 2, I think, turn 3. Yeah, there totally is not another flyer that's supposed to join on this map. Don't mind it.
Yeah, no. Another cool one.
The boss there has Corrode and Miracle, and he just didn't truck either of them, so that's a best case scenario, I guess.
It's extremely handy, yeah.
Yeah, Corrode is really annoying because, like, if he activates Corrode, then that reduces weapon uses, and weapon uses on your fortresses are very valuable in this game. And if it happens, you just deal with it.
Yeah. So even if we were to get Jill was the other flyer who shows up. It's a like dragon riding unit called Jill, but she actually doesn't show up at all, even if we had stayed on the map longer, because you got through chapter 11, the past map, before she ever showed up. And apparently if you beat that map before Jill shows up on that map, she just never shows up ever again in the rest of the game.
Yeah, I didn't know that until Racing told me, I think. And I'm like, oh, today I learned.
Yeah, I think I did it one time. I was just like, I just wanted, get out of the map, but I also wanted to recruit Jill. I'm like, where is she, bro?
The bonus experience here is nice because this is purely to save animations, combat animations. Marcia needs to hit, I think, 21 strength, 20 strength?
20
strength. Yeah, 20 strength to one-shot Myrmidons with a Forged Javelin. And why does that matter? Because one-shotting is faster than two-shotting. Also saving weapon uses. And the extra level up past 20 strength is for +1 skill for a boss coming up in the next map. Just so she has better hit. And we might as well. Skill's the stat that gives you more hit, by the way, which is valuable. Not as valuable as strength and speed, obviously, but hitting is important. So.
And don't hit start when you open chests, whatever you do.
Yeah, that is actually a little bit slower.
It's really tempting to just,
So this is another kind of defend map, but it's one of the more interesting ones in my opinion, because like you kind of have like 3 side objectives to take care of that are all speed related. So like we kind of want to route the map because killing everything is faster than letting the enemies move. And so we're going to be using quite a variety of units to try to do some shoving, kill a few extra enemies here and there. Another objective we have is to recruit the 2 green units in the middle. We're going to re-recruit Gatry and also a new unit named Astrid. And they're going to be very useful in picking up other green units because green units waste time. We want them to do nothing. So
yeah, it doesn't really help when a green unit fights a red unit and nobody dies because, you know, everyone sucks.
And
so.
all on turn 1, none of the green units are deployed except for 1.
Yeah, rescuing Astrid is like kind of sus. She's that white armored bow cav that we just recruited just a moment ago. And getting her on turn 1 actually requires like a fair bit of movement. You kind of need to shove Ike a few times because I think there's a Myrmidon in her range, and the Myrmidon will actually just literally one-shot her on turn 1 if you don't get her like straight away.
On normal, or you mean on like, I don't know if that would happen on this difficulty, but maybe higher ones.
It does happen on normal, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on the Myrmidon's roles. Like, there's a, I think it's, if I were, I haven't done the math, but I'd estimate like 80% of the time the Myrmidon just walks up and one-rounds Astrid, and it's like, oh, okay.
I do feel like it's kind of intended for you to use a shove chain to talk to her turn 1. Like, that just works out too nicely.
Yeah. Reese conveniently can actually shove Ike, which is something you would probably not expect would be the case, but he can.
Reese is like the sick cleric, but he's also like surprisingly bulky or buff because he can shove a lot of units.
Yeah, his entire backstory is that he's like this really sickly pacifist who, you know, is always frail and ill and doesn't want to fight anything, but, you know, apparently this small boy in white robes is enough to shove this character from Smash. Right. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention that one last side objective we have is to open up every single chest in the map. Not because we need the treasure, although some of it is very nice, but because eventually, I think like around turn 8 or 9, all the ravens, for story reasons, will start going after chests instead of attacking you. But if all the chests are already open, they're not gonna bother and they're just gonna run away. And then once that happens, then the chapter ends early. So we have our thief deployed to open up a few chests. We have Titania and Marsha kind of running around killing stuff and carrying chest keys so they can pick up some of the chests in the upper area as well.
Yeah, also I had to move a tree in front of the seize point there, because if you don't, actually that's a game over. The whole birdier there that is normally stationary will just run and like give you a game over, so...
Oh yeah, I've had that happen casually before.
That's pretty important that you don't have that happen, so...
Yeah.
Don't game over. Yeah, game overing is bad. Who would have thought?
Oh, whoa. What a crazy concept. But
some of the units on the northern boat also don't move, so like you don't have to really worry about them. Like that mage and archer that's off screen right now, they don't move, so like we can just use that opportunity to we can just kind of stay out of their range, and then once we have some player phases ready, we can just one-shot them and save some animations.
oh, so you do kill them even though they don't move?
Yes. Because the map ends early when there's no units left on, I think, turn 8s.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
No,
that
I
seems
didn't know
handy to
that.
do. I just left them alive and kept ending turns, so yeah, no wonder. It shows why, you know, Mute's the one running here and not me. So.
Oh, the magic animations, you can see how slow they are. Oh, Titania proving our point.
Bonk.
Bonk. Good
But
job,
yeah,
Hulk.
for the most part, a lot of this run is just about avoiding combat wherever possible, because, you know, if the combat doesn't further the map objective, then why would you waste time doing combat and doing the animation? You might say, oh, well, thank you. Is this the run where everything crits, Mute? Like, I think so.
Yeah, this has been a lot of crits, definitely. More than normal. On top of Oscar missing like the displayed 96, this is a pretty weird run right now.
Yeah. We never talked about displayed and actual hit. We can just kind of go over that really quickly because we have a little bit of downtime, but like most Fire Emblem games, including this game, lie to you about hit rates. What you would if you have like a 90% chance to hit something, you would expect a game to roll a random number between 0 and 99, compared to 90. If it's higher, you miss. If it's lower, you hit. This game doesn't do that. Most Fire Emblem games don't. What they do is they take the average of 2 numbers and then compares it. So to miss a 90, you have to roll 2 really high numbers in a row. In practice, what this means is hit rates above 50 are higher than what the game tells you, and hit rates below 50 are lower than what the game tells you. So in Mute's case, when Oscar missed a 95 display, that was like a 99.5% chance to hit instead of a 95% chance to hit.
Yeah, it was like
And,
really
like,
unlikely to happen.
As Mute mentioned earlier, for the most part, you know, a lot of the combats are done with like forged steels or forged hand axes, so everything just hits if it needs to hit, and it doesn't really matter. But you'll occasionally hear us talking about, you know, a such and such displayed chance to hit, and we kind of emphasize the displayed part because it actually is different from the actual chance to hit.
Yeah, and since Engage is kind of like Fire Emblem Engage is kind of like the hot new game that came out recently. The Engage uses a different RN system, by the way. It uses the same system as Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valencia, where the game uses 1 RN for hit rates lower than 50. In other words, the game doesn't lie to you if the hit rate's below 50. If it is above 50%, it does x plus x times -2 over 15 sine of x pi over 50, inclusive.
Oh, show off that memory. In Engage, the hit rates from 0 to 50 are exactly what it is displayed. So if it's 10%, it's 10%, and anything higher than 50 is like a little bit higher, but not as high as it is in 2RN, which is what this game uses. And it's like,
in practice,
it's not a huge detail. It's off by like 1 percentage point.
Yeah. So like if you're one of those people playing Engage and you like expected dodge tanking to work and you're getting hit by all these 20s, that's why, because 20% is actually 20% as opposed to 3 houses where 20% is actually 8%.
So what's the idea on this map? And why is there no fog? I thought there was fog here.
Yeah, fog. This map is a fog of war on hard mode only though. There was a defend map earlier that's also fog of war but only on hard. And our objective is to kill the boss, and Marsha cannot double attack the boss while carrying Ike. So Ike just kind of... Yeah, I almost said Micaiah for some reason. But yeah, boss bopped. And this is one of those maps where the Japanese and English version diverge a lot too. Because since in the Japanese version we have a 255 crit Slim Lance, we can just kill the boss in 1 hit, meaning Marsha can carry Ike. And that also means that it's pretty fast to go to the upper left corner and grab the Vantage Scroll in the Japanese version, which is a skill that allows you to attack first when enemies attack you. And if you have a 255 crit weapon that lets you kill a lot of stuff in 1 hit, what's even better than that? Killing stuff in 1 hit before they attack you. Again, that actually doesn't really change much of the actual strats in a lot of maps. It just speeds things up a lot for the Japanese version, but that is one of those maps where the actual strat changes a lot. But yeah, so this map is a desert map, and most Fire Emblem games have some kind of desert map, which have hidden treasure. The only hidden treasure we're concerned with is the boots, which is right there, and Volk is a thief. Thieves in this game have a guaranteed chance to find hidden items, and now we're just gonna go ahead and bop the boss with Marsha.
What do the boots do?
If you put them on your Pegasus Knight, they apparently let them fly further forward, even though the boots are on their feet.
They're magical boots. I don't know.
Yeah, they're magical boots. And you kind of notice Marsha was barely killing the boss there with her steel lance, forged steel lance. And we're running out of forges, by the way, so we kind of need some more. But yeah, so the boots, a less meme explanation, the boots gives you +2 movement. So Marsha just went from being a 9 move flyer to an 11 move flyer, so that's fun. So yep, and now since Ike's gonna be doing a lot of work in the upcoming chapter, and so we have the bonus experience to spare, so we might as well just cap him at level 20 because having experience bar show up is slow. If we're level capped, we want to waste experience because experience bar showing up is slow.
You're also going to give experience to Marsha. I'm not actually sure why, but we are.
I don't remember why.
Just so we're closer to her being capped, I guess. Probably.
I think so. Probably just more avoid, I guess, or maybe skill to crit. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember playing with this a lot, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, so the reason that we distribute the XP the way that we do is because for one, we're already allocating most of the combat to Marsha, so it kind of makes sense to have combat stats on the unit who's doing the lion's share of the combat. Like, it just seems like a wise thing to do in general. You may as well do it. Furthermore, when your level is capped, so when you reach level 20 promoted, you no longer earn experience, and this might seem like a downside because it means you're not getting any stronger, but it's actually quite an upside because it means that after each combat, you no longer have the EXP bar show up, which obviously costs time, so it's actually a massive time save the moment you hit level 20. Just all of your combats become so much faster because there's no EXP bar.
I like to call out that Marsha has capped strength and capped speed now, and we're about at the halfway point in the game instead of late game. So this is a siege map where you kind of have to go through these tight corridors, and we have Marsha carrying Ike and Titania carrying Volgar Thief. So we kind of have a side objective in this map, which is to grab that chest that you see right above Titania. It has a really important item called the Full Guard, which bows and wind magic are effective against Marsha, which usually isn't a big deal because weapon effectiveness in this game is ×2. So like if a bow has 5 might, it has 10 might instead. Oh no, 5 extra damage. And the Full Guard negates that, but there is a map later on where you have Ballista with like almost 20 might, and that adds up. That hurts like a truck. And you cannot count on Marsha to dodge tank those. She just isn't going to. So,
so
we kind of need to take a detour.
A little bit of extra time to pick up this item that lets us not get like turbo pwned in a map later is probably like wise.
Yeah, it's annoying because it actually costs about 1 minute to get. Oof. It's a really big time loss because like there's a strat you can do to save like 2 turns without getting the Full Guard, I think. And it's like an entire minute faster, but like good luck with the pitfall map. RNG manipulated run for this game, theoretically, would skip this because you would just try to rig dodges, and rigging dodges would obviously be way faster than spending a minute grabbing Full Guard.
I'm sure you could get that to work in a task, but I don't even know if a task exists for this game, but that's what you would do.
Yeah, the RNG works kind of similarly to the GBA Fire Emblems, except it's not on the same seat every time, and I think we just haven't done it because lazy, and we kind of lack the tools to see the RNG properly for Path of Radiance, which would change the run quite a bit, of course, but maybe not that much.
Theoretically, if you knew the seed. So how on earth are you going to get through this in 1 turn? Because you need 1 action for the thief to open the door and then another action for the thief to open the chest, right? So aren't you going to be in this map for at least 2 more turns, or what's going to happen?
Well, this game has a nice mechanic that we're about to see.
I know.
I think this game introduced it. Well, after Marsha kills everything.
Yeah. I guess we can't spoil it right now for the thing that happens like a minute from now.
Yeah, because of all these animations. So yeah, imagine if you were playing the Japanese version and you had Vantage, again, allowing you to attack first, and a 255 crit Slim Lance. You would just kill everything here before they even attack you, which is just flat time save. But
don't you
the
get
actual
the
strat will be the same.
Like 2 chapters ago or so?
Yeah, you would get it 2 chapters ago. So it is like a 20-second detour in the Japanese version. In the English version, it's a 40-second detour because you have to find a place to drop Ike because Marsha can't kill the boss because she has to double in the English version. And it doesn't even save as much time in the English version because you can't one-shot everything. And I think I like went through like 8-10 maps like 10 times in a row each with Vantage and without Vantage and calculated like the average time saved per map, and I think it was like 20 seconds of time lost to get Vantage, 5 seconds of time lost to assign it, and then like around 45 seconds of time save overall from that. So Vantage saves like 20 seconds in the Japanese version, roughly.
Not too bad. Anyway, Kimarsi over here, which I've never actually noticed his name, but that's a really strange name, I'm sure. No offense to anyone who has actually called Kimarsi is watching the chat. You showed up like all excited to watch the run, and here I am just saying your name. But no, I don't know where that comes from. But how are we going to get through here? Oh, we just...
Bonk. Good job, Titania.
Yeah, that mechanic was introduced in this game for the first time, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's been in any other game. The closest thing in past games is like the GBA Fire Emblems where you can like attack walls. I don't think you can attack walls in Thracia.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's the closest thing, but you can't like open them with thieves, obviously. So
the enemies can break walls in Thracia though.
Oh yeah, they can.
In like 2 maps.
Yeah, and then breaking open doors with axes or weapons was in this game, in the sequel, and then it made its return finally in Engage, so now we can do it again.
Engage lets us bunga doors and walls, hooray.
Yeah. I do love how like they actually give you that tutorial before they like teach you how to use a thief to open a door. It's like, nah, no time, just break it open.
Alright, so we are in Seren's Forest, totally not a website. And this is a really big map where we, in terms of the lore, we're trying to rescue this Laguz heron named Rayson, and this bishop named Oliver, who is very beautiful. He's kind of just trying to run away with he kind of partakes in a lot of like this game is kind of centralized around racism, and that includes slavery. So he's kind of running away from us, and we're trying to catch him, basically. And he has his like, he's a bishop, so he has like his own entire army that he's trying to defend himself with. So we're trying to fly around this 4-part map to catch him, and meaning this entire map is basically 4 maps. Part 1, which is this one, is a route map, so we have to kill every last one of them.
Yeah, each of the 4 maps has a different objective. This one is route. The next one is probably the hardest objective. It's arrive.
Yeah,
and then,
it's really difficult.
Part 3 is a defend map, which, you know, you've kind of seen how we've done defend maps in the past. I'm sure you'll, you know, use your imagination to come up how we're going to do that one. And then Chapter 4 is a kill boss map, which does have a slightly complicated addition to it. In order to get out of the kill boss map in absolutely the fastest time possible, there's like one kind of funny thing you have to do. But we'll see me do it when we get to 17-4.
Mm-hmm. One other thing to note is that weapon management gets really tight. So like we actually got a spear from the last boss, which is basically a really powerful javelin, with not the greatest hit out there. And we're gonna go get a killer lance coming up, which is a 1-range lance with high crit. And like we've been forging every map, and we're actually gonna be running out of forges, so we actually need to rely on like weapons like the killer lance and the spear to help carry us through the next handful of maps.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a pretty important detail, because for every other map prior to this, we can just forge a new javelin and put it directly in Marsh's inventory, and so we just always have weapons. But in this one, we have to do 4 maps in a row without forges.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of need to set up your inventory correctly, and it's one of the parts where weapon durability really matters, because you can just literally run out of weapons completely and just be unable to win the run. So don't do that.
This map, this entire series of maps is kind of cool in a sense, because like you can also give yourself reinforcements. Like at the start of each map, yeah, you're committed to like the same units that you brought, but you get to like bring in reinforcements with like 2 or 3 extra units that join like turn 2 or 3. So it's kind of cool. We're not going to see that in a speedrun because it's really slow. But
so here's the really difficult arrive map. It's off into the right tile, and there's a bunch of enemies in the way. And you know, this being a forest map, it's not like we can just fly over them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to go through the enemies here, as you can see. We can't just like ignore them entirely or anything. That would never happen in a Fire Emblem game, of course. They would never let you just walk past the enemies.
Nope,
No.
that would never happen in any Fire Emblem game ever.
They would never like put traversable tiles in the middle of trees that like no one else can reach except for flyers. That would totally.
Who would
be
ever do
ridiculous.
that?
Yeah.
But there's no
Who would
enemy
ever
flyers.
leave a single archer to defend?
Well, I
a
got one archer, that's
unoccupied.
what-
Yeah, it's one archer defending an unoccupied arrive tile to prevent this.
Well, that's what it is. It's like, oh well, you know, the fly over there. We'll just put an archer here. That'll be enough. That'll stop it, right?
I think that archer even has an iron bow, and it's a game with ×2 weapon effectiveness instead of 3. So
Can he even like kill base Marsha?
no, I really doubt it.
What about base Marsha carrying Ike? Speaking about carrying Ike, Ike is now carrying Leanne, I think.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we mentioned Rayson, who's like a Heron Laguz that we're trying to rescue, and it turns out his sister has been alive this whole time, and we're trying to protect her. So the game forces Ike to carry her. We mentioned rescuing earlier. When you rescue someone, you're carrying them. When you're rescuing someone, you take a penalty to your skill and speed stat, meaning you can't dodge as much, you can't double attack, you can't hit. And that sucks, because that means Ike is going to get hit a lot. And Ike dying is a game over.
So we've had like 5 crits so far in this Oh, actually, that one mattered. 5 of the crits so far have done nothing. That one actually mattered. Okay.
That one matters quite a bit, yeah.
You know, at the beginning of this turn, Ike swallowed an item called a Pure Water. It just increases your res by 7. That's pretty important, because otherwise he gets kind of like destroyed by these mages, and then Ike dies, and it's a game over.
Yeah. It's a temporary boost, and the res boost from the Pure Water goes down by 1 per turn in this game.
So this is a defend map. Unfortunately, we start in the middle of all the enemies, unlike all the defend maps where we start like up against a wall, and so we can just run up against the wall and not get killed. This time we have to like, you know, kill our way over to the wall, and the spot of choice that Mute is going to go is this bit in the top left corner that apparently has this like really thin barrier. Can enemies like attack through that barrier or run through that barrier, or no?
No. Are you talking about the log or?
Not the log. Well, once we get up in the corner, it'll kind of like demonstrate it a bit better. But
Yeah.
maybe there's just like a tile that we can reach and doesn't have anything to the right of it. I
Mhm.
thought this like stone, like archway or whatever, was like an untraversable barrier between those two tiles, which I was about to think was really unique in Fire Emblem. But maybe there's just a spot, and I'm being a foolish person.
Yeah, an older strat. Back then, the older strat used to be just have Ike camp, and then these two mages kept attacking you over and over again. It turns out to be a lot faster to just kill these mages, because magic animations cost a lot of time.
But now
I
we kill the
think
mages.
I timed
and
it.
then
It was
we
like
sit.
40 seconds faster to kill the mages. Like, that's how much time they cost.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge time save. So the only thing that should be attacking us after we kill the other mage bothering Ike is a single soldier. So Mute just has to keep an eye on Ike's health and make sure he doesn't die and use elixirs appropriately. We want to minimize healing animations because healing costs time, but we're gonna usually have to use one elixir at least, maybe two if you get unlucky.
2. I don't know if I've ever had to use 2. That'd be pretty...
I did. It sucked. I was like, oh, really? Really?
Come
Ike,
on, bro.
The legend of not dodging. Well, if he takes 4 more hits, I have to heal. That'll be a while.
Yeah. It adds up because like sometimes that soldier can roll a higher attack power, I think.
Yeah.
It might be Japanese version bias because like I believe the enemies just do a bit more damage in Japanese version. Like the strat's exactly the same in the Japanese version here. So, and I'm more familiar with the Japanese version.
And
So, like,
this
you
is
might have to
the
heal more in Japanese.
this is the elixir that we picked up in chapter 3 that we mentioned was really important, right?
Yep, this is the same elixir. It's the only one you get up to this point, I think.
And we don't ever use it at all after this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we actually remove it from his inventory after the end of this chapter because we need
Yeah.
something else. I forgot what it was, though.
I don't remember, but it's important enough because we kind of need Ike to not die. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, the rest of this map is just these big bunch of guys coming up to stand here and do nothing as we watch Ike get attacked one time, and that's kind of it. Is
Poke.
pretty much how you always do every defense chapter, like in any Fire Emblem game that doesn't let you like end it immediately, like the ones in Radiant Dawn.
You want to, yeah, you kind of want to get your defense chapters to a point where you just do nothing and end turn over and over,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
So-
there's a handful of defend maps in the series, like chapter 15 and FE7 Hector mode comes to mind, where like there is some incentive to go out and kill everything faster, but in this one, like the enemies will still spawn and the enemies will still fight you, and there's like 30 of them, so how about we just like get in the corner instead?
How many turns? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, the turn after those guys start moving is when it ends.
So this is a kind of a quirky thing in Fire Emblem speedruns. So this is a kill boss map, and the boss is, some number of squares over in the yonder. And, the
11.
natural thing to do... 11 squares? Yeah. The natural thing to do when the boss is way over there is to move Marsha way off into the distance, and then in the next turn, move her all the rest of the way. However, a pretty simple thing you quickly discover when rounding speedruns is that, if you have 11 move and the boss is 16 tiles away or whatever, you don't move 11 tiles and then 5. You move 5 tiles and then 11, because then you aggro fewer enemies on the way there. So Mute moved a very small distance and then moved very great distance this turn and kills this very beautiful Oliver, and we're done with the map.
And
GG.
he's definitely dead now. You will never see him again in any other Fire Emblem game. He's gone.
He will not be recruited in Radiant Dawn at all whatsoever.
Yeah, we definitely got him good this time. And then we sing a song, this small part of the forest, briefly, like get some flowers on it, and we go on to Ike's promotion.
Hooray! Now Ike wastes time by getting experience.
Woo!
Woo! He's actually going to be pretty important in general, but so his promotion is well timed. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, we probably should be glad that he gets promoted. The game would be pretty hard if he never got promoted, right? So audio. Is there any way to pause the timer during all this, or no?
I don't know. I wouldn't worry about that though.
Fair enough.
That much.
Yeah. Oh, we're
Sound
coming
back.
Now?
We live! Woo!
Hey!
Juice! Woo!
Excellent.
I don't need to remember what I was doing again. Okay, we're just giving backs to them. Okay.
Yeah. Should we say the same thing again for the third time now?
Sure.
Well, I just got swole. He was. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He got promoted. He got a big heap of stats. He earns XP now. So, we got a Bexpum. Ike is pretty important here, even though, you know, Marcia is doing pretty much all of the combat. We do need to kill the final boss with Ike, and so stats on Ike are pretty important. Is there any other combats that we really plan to do with Ike, or is it mostly just the final boss?
Route here and there, including this map.
Fair enough. Oh, yes.
He does a little bit of boss killing in a few of these maps too, I think. Like because his offensive stats are just going to be better than Marcia's. Like, you can see Marcia's already hit her strength cap of 23, and like, that's fine for now, but in late game that does bite her in the butt. So like, she's gonna be pretty strictly limited by her offensive caps.
Yeah. We very briefly had an option to not allow Rayson to join us in case that's something you want to do. But we decided to let Rayson join us. Rayson is a dancer, which is a pretty important class in Fire Emblem. So, or rather a heron, I guess, but most of the time people call it a dancer. So Rayson, being a heron, has the chance skill, and the chance skill, when cast on an ally, allows them to move again this turn. It's rather good, as you can see.
Downside to it is that it has a really long animation.
Oh,
So you
yeah,
actually
no.
kind of want to avoid it when you can, but a lot of fast clears heavily rely on it, so. He can
Yeah, I
even transform, like he's a Laguz, so he has his own transformation form, which allows him to chant for 4 units at the same time, which is incredibly broken. Will we see it in speedrun? No.
Aw, fair.
Yeah,
Well,
we
yeah, because you gotta like use an item to transform him, and then you have to have some kind of strat that profits from dancing like a unit not called Marcia, in addition to Marcia,
Yeah.
and there's very few of those.
Yeah, also, we just don't stay around in maps long enough for him to transform without a Laguz done. So like, it takes
He
really
does in this
long.
map actually, but like again, it doesn't really matter.
Oh,
That's actually one reason we recruit him. I think. Wrong. Maybe not. Like I think it takes 5 turns for him to transform. So I think he would transform in this map because this map does take a while.
Oh.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be remembering wrong.
Pretty sure it's more than 5 turns, but for this map, I mean, at least.
Yeah. The other thing is that we also just got another important unit named Tanith. She's like actually really good. Like she just joins with basically Super Marcia stats. Although she's not as good as our Marcia, of course, but she just joins with really competent stats and has like one of the best speed in the game at base. Like I think she has like as much speed as Stefan, who is a sword master, that can also join. She's not going to be used for combat because using more units is slow. So she's still useful for like because she's just a free 9-move flying unit. So she can make errands for us, she can distract enemies, she can babysit Rayson, as Gwimpish likes to call it.
Babysitter,
So-
yeah. In casual playthrough, she's like actually really amazing, but in this one, like, Marcia already has all the stats to do combat. And we didn't really bring it up, but you know, in Fire Emblem, especially in Fire Emblem speedruns, it's kind of better to have like one unit doing all the combat. Because, you know, it means you earn less EXP, it means you definitely one round anybody whom you fight. And so that's kind of the reason why, you know, you're asking, so some may come in and ask, why aren't you training such and such, or why aren't you training such and such? Well, because like Marcia just has all of the combat handled, right? So Ike is killing these 3 wyverns. They showed up here on the right side of the map, and this is a route map. Occasionally, we will need a unit to do some extra combat, even though I was literally just talking about how we only need 1 unit. And this is one of those maps. So Ike, because he needs to be a high level later on, is, you know, going to be doing these combats. Also, the Wrath skill is pretty important, right?
Yeah, the Wrath skill, it gives you 50 crit when you're at half HP or lower. Very important for the last boss. And we're gonna get Brave Bow. Very useful weapon, totally.
Also, we're killing Shannon, who was a playable character earlier. You can re-recruit him, but it's very tedious, so we're not doing it, and it would not give us anything anyway. So
it involves bringing a level 1 archer unit named Rolf, having him, I think, talk to Shinon, and then you have to beat Shinon with Ike, which is fun.
It's
Or
good,
you could just kill him.
it's a good recruitment, like story-wise, because like it's showing like, oh, Shinon's like, now I must join because Ike has shown me that he's better than him. He's better than me, but like it's obviously not going to be worth it here. So he's just gonna die. So rip Shinon.
One last thing to note: there are reinforcements at the starting position, but Titania and Tanith are in spots that would block them. So we're not going to see any reinforcements.
I think this is the only time in the entire run where you like really need to block reinforcements like that, right?
I think so, because yeah, it's also a route map. There are a few route maps where we need to like make sure we end it quickly, so the reinforcements don't spawn, but we don't like block them actively. We just try to clear it quickly. And I think you use the Killer Lance coming up on the Raven soon, just because we don't really have anything that can potentially one-shot them. Nice.
Getting so many crits. Oh my goodness.
Saving a lot of time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, the Japanese version would use a 255 crit forge on the Ravens coming up soon, because killing things in one hit is faster than two. But the English version tries to use the Killer Lance just to try to fish for the crit because it's faster. But if you don't crit, oh well. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah, in general, when fighting B-Orc enemies, it's better to use the Javelin because, you know, they could have bows or hand axes or javelins or magic and attack you at range or in melee, but against Laguz, they always attack in melee, so you may as well just use like a really powerful melee weapon like this Killer Lance that has extra crit rate, as you just saw. I guess there's one Laguz who attacks at range, but like, you know, details.
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 I mean,
There is a Laguz that attacks at zero range. There is a Laguz that attacks at zero range. His name's
Wait,
Racing.
really?
What?
Oh,
I mean, I was gonna say, because like there's a certain game where zero range actually like means something. It doesn't just mean they can't attack. So.
Okay, fair
Never
enough.
mind. But yeah, he can't attack. True.
Crit. Oh.
Like how the game has to pause even though the Raven's not attacking because they can't.
they need to like recover from the recoil of getting hit by a lance, right? So
Yeah, we have to be as we're murdering them. It's really important.
I think this next map coming up is one of my favorite speedrun maps. I'm just gonna say it's a defeat boss map. That's all I'll say about it. I'll let it. I'll let it explain itself. You like trains?
trains. Bonk.
I like shove trains. Bonk.
So here we're using the shove mechanic a little bit in order to put Ryson on a completely different square.
Just a little bit.
It's like a little bit further ahead, yeah.
We never mentioned that mounted units normally can't get shoved, but Laguz units have really high weight, so they can actually shove mounted units. So we actually just had our Laguz unit Mordecai shove Marsha. And
Yeah, it's not
even better, he has a smite command, which is shoving someone 2 tiles.
Yeah, it's not so much that mounted units can't be shoved, it's just that their constitution is so prohibitively high that you normally just can't do it. Oh, wow, you just actually player phase them. Okay.
Alright, see ya.
Bye.
Leave it, Griffin.
Alright, cool map, guys.
And then there
yeah.
was Volk asking us for something I forgot, and we just decided to not promote him because that wastes time, and then nothing happens. Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, not the support menu. Wait, who's the woman? Oh, Khalil. Yeah, she's kind of good.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's like a really cool pre-promoted Sage, with really good offensive stats. Like, she's fast enough to double most stuff, and like, she's kind of a glass cannon, but because she's a mage, but like, she's competent enough to kill everything with magic. And magic animations are slow, but if you notice, we are kind of lacking in competent combat units in general because we've just been dumping everything in Marsha, and Khalil will fill that niche very nicely. Like, I think like at our join time, her stats are like on par with like a trained Sorin or Ileana at the same level. Like, she's just that good in general.
Yeah, she's just like better, and she has the weapon ranks to use some of the more powerful tomes. The weapon rank mechanic isn't something that we've really brought up because it's mostly irrelevant, but in casual playthrough, it's pretty important to be able to use whatever tome that you want to use, whereas Soren could pick up, say, like a bolting, and it's like, oh, you don't have the thunder rank.
Right. Because like there are tomes called siege tomes, which are 3 to 10 range tomes, and that is very useful, including this map as a backup. And Khalil just joins with B rank in all tomes, so she can use every siege tome in the game right off the bat.
Just immediately, yeah. So we drop Ike right in front of Shahirem, which is Jill's dad.
Who?
Oh, right. I don't know. Anyway, apparently there's this other secret character you can get, and this is like a cameo appearance of her dad. We bring Ike because I assume Marsha's offense is like inadequate to just kill him straight away. So
that sounds right. And this isn't a ride map, so Marsha can just end the map too.
We bring 2 people so that one person can kill the boss and the other can arrive. So we need 2 actions to finish it.
There is a small chance that Tanith can die here if she gets hit by the blizzard.
Oh no.
I might have just jinxed it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Is that
she's
pretty
very
tragic
dodgy,
or no?
but we'll see.
It would be pretty uncommon for it to happen, but if it happens, we just reset the map. So oh well.
Yeah, because Tanith is really important because she needs to get the village at the bottom.
Also, the Dragon Knights can move in the way of the village, and you can't get the rescue staff if that happens. So hopefully, oh no, hopefully that doesn't happen either.
Okay.
Was there another one? I don't remember. I always forget how many of them attack her.
I think that's it.
Oof.
Nope, there's another one.
Close. Wait.
Okay.
Oh.
She's just making it interesting, okay?
There you go.
Just don't worry.
No, not racing.
Fun fact, Rayson does not take effective damage from bows until he transforms. So if he was transformed, he'd die there. So yeah, we kind of want to grab both villages. This village gives us a smite scroll, which is shoving 2 tiles. Pretty important for later on. And Tanith will visit this village for the rescue staff, which teleports a distant unit to the staff user. Very important for a late game. And now we get to see Khalil putting in some work with a meteor tome. Because neither Ike nor Marsha can kill Shiharam. Reliably, at least. So we need Khalil to help out with the 10 range tome. And now you can see Ike exactly killing Shiharam. Watch him crit and make it unnecessary fun. I called it. That always happens. I'm like, I'm meteoring to be safe, but he's gonna crit anyways to make me feel bad. And then he crits.
Totally just had it. Like, come on.
So yeah, fun. If a wyvern, I know like if a wyvern blocks the bottom village, Khalil can just kill the wyvern because she double attacks them with meteor, which is hilarious. But then you're kind of screwed for the boss though. You kind of need a crit.
Oh, it's not racing in position right there.
Oh yeah, he is there. Yeah, you can use racing too. Yeah. Oh, 84,000 gold. Imagine that.
How are we ever gonna spend that money? Don't think we will. Anyway, Mute forged a forged silver for the first time. Silver is the highest tier of weaponry, and so forged silver lance is basically going to be the absolute end-all, be-all of melee attacking combat for pretty much the rest of the run, except for possibly Ike's Ragnell with 2 skills equipped. But for the rest of the run, it's either javelin because you want to counterattack at 1-2 range, or silver lance because you want to counterattack only at 1 range or kill a really bulky boss, or no weapon because you don't want to counterattack at all. And you do have to kind of memorize which weapon you need equipped at certain points, but that's mostly the weapon choice for the rest of the run is one of those 3 weapons, either silver lance, javelin, or nothing at all.
Getting a really buff Ike here.
Yeah, we're getting to 14 res and 20 defense with Ike so he can not get sleep staffed by a dude in this map, and the defense for something else, I don't remember what, but that's important too.
Yeah, this map introduces status saves, enemy status saves, and some of them have sleep, which is a ranged staff, and if it hits you, you get put to sleep for 5 turns. That's really bad. And the way to avoid it is this chance to get hit by sleep is determined by the staff user's magic stat versus the target's resistance stat, which is why we're using Pure Water on Ike and also leveling him to get a lot of resistance. And if you have enough resistance stacked up, then the sleep staff user is just not going to bother trying, which is good because sleep staff animations cost time. So it's not only that we don't want to have a chance of getting put to sleep, it's that the animation itself just wastes time, period. So And this is a C's map, so we kind of need to get Marsha and Ike all the way to the C's point. Well, only Ike technically, but, you know, Marsha's Marsha.
There's an enemy on the C's point too, right? So
Yeah. Her name is Anna. She has Miracle. Miracle...
What does the Miracle skill do?
Yeah, I wonder. So, if you're about to take a lethal blow, you have a luck % chance to take half damage instead. And so she can activate like twice in a row if you're really unlucky, because it doesn't bring you down to 1 HP. You just take half damage, period. So you can activate multiple times. And that's fun.
Yeah, they did nerf it in later games where, like in the Fates Miracle, it always brings you to 1 HP. So if you can't proc it again in that game. Wait, did I?
It's the kind of skill that gets really annoying on enemies and is kind of useless on player units, because like this game's usually series is usually permadeath, and if you're relying on Miracle, you're kind of screwed anyways. In most cases.
Like why? How did you put yourself in that situation to begin with, right? So,
right. I think it is still better than nothing. So.
Fair enough. It's also like pretty tragic if in a Miracles, because not only do you not kill her, but then there's also like a healing animation for the throne, and then a healing animation for her renewal, and then a healing animation because she swallows the elixir. And she always swallows the elixir. Like she's aggressive with it. Yeah, she has no qualms about it. I think I've seen her be like 7 HP under, and she used the elixir. I'm like, really?
Did that happen when you're doing the playthrough with Mecha? I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it did. She had like 7 HP under, and she swallowed the elixir. Like, really? Why are you gonna do this? But we do recruit a character here, I believe. Do we not?
Yes.
Yeah, his name's Toronio. And he's kind of really annoying to deal with, so we just recruit him, and he's going to be convenient because he's bulky and big.
He allows us to move Ike an extra 2 spaces, which is really important, actually.
And he also gets us another spear, which is actually pretty important.
Yeah.
Because like a spear has 1 more might than a capped forged javelin, which does matter, by the way. We do need that +1 might for a few maps.
Yeah, and furthermore, we could fight this Tornado guy, which would take ages because he's really bulky and nobody kills him quickly, or we could just talk to him, which is way faster. Anyway, good luck with Ina.
Good luck with Ina.
Oh, rip Ina.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
Okay, sure. Why not?
We like explain all these boss mechanics and things that can go wrong, and just like critter, like fair enough, all right.
The best possible thing happens other than her critting on the first attack, I guess.
I feel like the first crit wouldn't even have mattered, because like you're not gonna kill her with 1 crit, I think, or 2.
Oh, actually, 2? I'm not sure. Maybe.
I don't know.
I wasn't paying attention.
Me neither. I just saw the blue sparks, and I'm like, oh my god, of course. Good job, Ike.
So Ike has 7 move, and the Seize tile in this game does not cost extra move like it does in a particular other game, so we can just walk and seize on this turn.
Sounds like you're firing shots at a specific other game.
Maybe.
Or all the GBA titles.
All the GBA.
All the GBA titles.
Only Gates cost extra move, or do Thrones as well?
I don't remember.
Gates don't, but Thrones do.
Okay, I had it backwards.
I can never remember. They change it up like every game. And then they kind of just stopped having Seize objectives after the DS games.
Oh, there's this map.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, this map is funny.
So in this map, the story is basically that there's some bandits who kind of like took over a monastery, and they're holding all of the priests hostage. And, you know, you want to go through and not kill any of the innocent priests. I'm like, wait, what's Khalil doing? Why are you killing this innocent priest? He didn't do anything.
He's just casually doubling the priest with a 10 ranged tome that weighs like 13 weight.
Yeah, I know. Oh, what? But I mean, no. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think this is a crime.
Technically, yes, I guess, in the canonical world, but
no.
She just crit.
They're innocents.
Titania just rubbing it in. Here, have a crit.
Here, have a crit. Yeah, no. Okay, well, like, that's the end of it, right? Somebody, okay, I guess this guy's like an actual bandit, so, you know, fair enough. Or a soldier or whatever.
So yeah, the fastest strat is to use Meteor on the boss because he's kind of right there, and you can just bop him with Meteor. But it's incredibly unreliable, because you have to hit him twice with Meteor with Khalil, which is okay hit, like 70 hit, and then you have to hit him once with Tormod, which has like less than 50 hit, and you have to get all 3 in a row. This this alternative strat I think Gwimpich came up with is very nice, because it's really pretty reliable for the most part, and it's also pretty different. Unfortunately, Marsha doesn't kill one-round KO the boss, but conveniently he moves first on enemy phase, so it doesn't really matter.
You can also kill Marsha, but it's really unlikely.
I've never seen it happen. I've known it's possible, but I've never seen it happen because he has to like crit Marsha and activate his Colossus skill, which is like.
I mean, you can hit her with a normal hit, then crit her on the next one, and that kills her.
Oh, that does? Okay.
It's happened to me once.
Ow. Okay, that hurts. So we're actually forging. Mute is forging a slim sword for Marsha, not because they're not doing anything like fancy, because we can't like forge 255 crit on it, but it's because of weapon triangle, which we never explained in this game because it never really was that relevant. But in most Fire Emblem games, have a weapon triangle where swords have an advantage against axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. And what that means in this game's context is that if you're at an advantage, you get plus 10 hit, plus 10 avoid. And there's a lot of axe users we want to avoid, basically. Especially since Marsha's carrying Ike, so she's not as dodgy as usual. Because her speed is halved while carrying Ike.
Yeah, so some number of maps ago, we took a detour with Titania and Volk in order to pick up an item called the Full Guard, and we said this like costs a minute to pick up, but helps us to not get like completely destroyed in a later map. This is that later map, so these ballista that you see are like siege weapons that fire at, I think it's 10 range, and have enormous damage against flyers, unless you have the Full Guard, in which case they deal like 18 less damage or something.
In other words, she got hit and did 0 damage.
Yeah, no. If you have the Full Guard, you take 0 damage. If you don't have the Full Guard, you get like 3 shot. So
like, we can't rely on her dodge again because she's carrying Ike. So man, it would be nice to have a skill where you don't have any penalties for carrying someone.
There's no way you get that, and especially there's no way you get that like really soon either, right?
No way.
No.
There's no way that happens literally in the next map. That would be too convenient for us explaining this mechanic for that to happen exactly the map after it matters.
Yeah, that would be way too convenient.
Yeah.
That'd actually be really inconvenient, actually, if those two maps, like, if there were a hypothetical map with such a skill right after, I would rather these two maps have been switched, right?
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah, but, I mean... Oh, also, this bridge has, like, a bunch of pitfalls, where basically if a ground unit, like, walks into a trap square, then they get stunned and they fall into the square, and then the units can walk over the pitfall.
Yeah, it's not you don't even have to end your turn. Like, if you just move your character there without, like, committing to an action, it just forcefully ends your turn. It's kind of rude.
You're done. Apparently, I'm like the only one who can do this, but you can actually like see the pitfall tiles. Like, it kind of helps if you know where some of them are, but once you know what one looks like, you can just kind of see the pitfall tiles because they like clip really weirdly. But we're using a flyer, so we just fly right over them and ignore the mechanic entirely.
So do the enemies. The enemies actually can see where they are, so they like you probably saw like one of the cavaliers like move in a weird like
zigzaggy way.
Yeah, because they're avoiding the pitfalls because they can know where they are.
Yeah, it's a really unique mechanic that only shows up in this one map ever in the entire series.
It never returns.
Never returns.
Nope, never returns in Radiant Dawn.
Much less on the same bridge.
Mm-hmm. And Marsha got hit by the Laguz. Laguz units hit hard and they're pretty accurate, so we're actually gonna eventually take off the Full Guard and give her a different accessory that protects her from Laguz. Nice crit.
Yeah, the Laguz guard like reduces it like cuts the damage you take from Laguz in half after your defense. So like if you would have took 9 damage, you take 5 instead or something. It's like weird because the game doesn't actually calculate it for you in the battle forecast. You have to like cut it in half yourself.
Battle forecast, the thing we've been reading this entire time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How convenient. Marsha barely 2-hit KOs Petrine.
Whoa. I mean, if she didn't, you just, do something different here. This is like cap strength, so this is as good as you get.
Yeah, like we can't get any stronger than this. You kind of see Marsha's low strength cap starting to catch up to her a bit.
Anyway, so in this map, there's a village that has the savior skill, which means that when you're carrying someone, you don't take any stat penalties. We might have mentioned it earlier. Actually, I think we specifically tried our best to not mention it earlier, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
But
and this is an arrive tile.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, and it's not well, it's protected by ally units, so we can just yeet someone into the arrive tile and arrive without killing anyone. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, the upside is it's protected by ally units. The downside is it's protected by ally units. So we need to get over there ASAP before the ally units waste 100 million years fighting enemies and not killing anybody.
Yep.
I think I timed it before. I think like the enemy phase plus the NPC phase in this map takes like 2 minutes each time. It's actually pretty variable because a lot of things that can go differently, but it takes very long and it's really annoying. So you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, so Marsha just passed by the village with the savior skill, but Marsha can't visit it because she used up her turn to pick up Rayson to make sure he doesn't die. So it's going to be Tanith's role to distract some enemies and then grab the savior scroll. Because free 8-move flyer, 9-move flyer.
It's funny how Tanith doesn't actually like fight anything in this entire run, but she's still really important to it. Meanwhile, in Radiant Dawn, she actually does fight things.
Yeah, in the Radiant Dawn speedrun, Tanith is like actually a third flying carry because we actually need multiple carries, especially for the part of the game where you have to split your army.
And then
yeah, Tanith like destroys an entire segment of the game on her own, basically.
And then Marsha does like nothing the entire game.
Kind of, yeah.
She attacks like one enemy, I think. Actually, no, she attacks two.
It's kind of interesting how the roles are sort of swapped, because like Marsha is like the hard carry for Path of Radiance but does nothing in Radiant Dawn, and then it's vice versa. Har and Jill carry Radiant Dawn but do nothing in Path of Radiance, and then Tanith just helps in both games.
Yep. Oh yeah, the green horse unit on the far left is the only generic Valkyrie in the game, which is otherwise a personal class for a playable character Mist, who is Ike's sister, but there's just like a green version of her just sitting there, which is kind of like hair, but I don't know. Is Marsha sacrificed? Yes, in the easy mode run of Radiant Dawn she is, but not in normal mode.
Oh, green units. Good job, Wimpage.
That's right. All like 4 green units managed to team up and kill one guy and Kanto away.
Oh.
Woo!
Nice. I don't know if that sniper would have killed without it, but you know, not complaining.
It was funny, regardless.
Yeah. So all of our flunkies, including Ike, their role is to just stay out of enemy range. And conveniently enough, we just got 2 new units, Lucia and Bastion. They're gonna do nothing because they are deployed. We just aggroed some of the remaining red units exactly out of range of them. So by the time the next turn comes around, no one else will get attacked.
And Lucia does join with an important item. Whoa, whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Just out
Looks
of
a little
range.
sketchy. A little sketchy.
It's funny how we're like exactly one space out of range of all of them. They didn't bring ranged weapons.
No, what? He gets doubled?
No, not the green Shinon.
Wow, imagine holding a longbow causing you to get doubled by a Myrmidon. Whoa.
Oh, but he got like a really sick kill on that cav though, so you know.
Worth. Worth.
Yeah, I think it's better. I don't know if it's better or worse for the green units to die, because it means they don't move, but like there's so many different things that can happen with them, so I don't know if there's many...
I don't know if it's better or worse. I assume it's better, but I don't know, and it's like, I didn't bother timing because like, what's the point? You can't do anything about it, so...
Yeah, whatever they do is just whatever they do, you know, just... I don't know, stand up and grab a coffee or something, like, you know... It's a green phase. Woo, more crit!
Dang, they got that soldier. Really important.
Whew. Could you imagine if they hadn't? Anyway, we arrived now, right?
Not yet.
I was about to say, don't forget Savior. I've forgotten Savior before. It sucked.
Whoops.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I think next map is Eat Rock.
Yes.
Eat Rock, yeah. So I think this is the only other map in the. This is like one other map where this actual strat changes between the Japanese and English version. Which again, you'd be surprised how little changes there are in general. The Japanese version can forge 255 crit Thunder Tomes for Khalil, so Khalil can just one-shot everything in this one part of the map because this is a route map. In the English version, well, in both versions technically, she can't double attack some of the Laguz because she's just not fast enough since they're really fast. So instead, the English version, it's gonna go ahead and recruit Largo, Khalil's basically lover, because he does have the offensive stats to double attack all of the Laguz that he needs to.
And you actually need Khalil in order to recruit him here too, so you know.
So Khalil was still very useful in the English speedrun. It's more like the English version of this chapter strat is basically replace Khalil with Largo. And that's basically it.
Yeah, Largo's a berserker. He's actually the only one in all of the Tellius games, so in all of Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, he's the only berserker. And he's actually got like kind of good stats. He just like walks forward and has big attack with this axe and kills things.
I think
nice.
I think like his strength, skill, speed growths are all like 60 to 70%. It's ridiculous.
Wait, skill on a berserker? What?
Yeah. Wait, I'm curious. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, but he only can get like 8 levels or something, so it's not.
Yeah, so it doesn't help them that much. Largo, 70% strength. Okay, I lied. 45% skill, 45% speed, which is still good, but
Yeah, that's still like pretty good. Oh, we just killed Grommel.
we just killed the boss. Good job.
He's like kind of a pain in the butt on harder difficulties because he has Resolve, which is a really difficult skill to work around. But you know, here our Marcia is just like super juiced up, so we'd like pwn him. Anyway, this map is like pretty interesting because you know it is a route map. And the enemies are all pretty spread out, so you can't like just destroy everything with Marcia. We actually need like more than one unit. So we use Ike because it's kind of nice when Ike gets experience. He needs to level up and eventually kill the final boss. We use Marcia because obviously she's Marcia, and then Largo is this joiner who has the highest stats we have of anyone yet. So he's gonna go and do like some very small tasks on the right side of the map. But for the most part, it's Ike and Marcia.
And we also don't want to use any cavalry because they have like one move on this map because of terrain. So we're on a mountain. So this is kind of an interesting map in a sense because like it really gives infantry units a chance to shine on this map because all your paladins stuck on this map. They can't move.
Yeah, I'd assume that's why we don't use Titania here. Is partly because of that, maybe. I don't know actually.
Her offensive stats just don't keep up either. So
Oh yeah. That
yeah.
too.
Yeah, even if Titania like dismounted from her horse, she'd still be significantly worse than Largo. So just use Largo.
Largo good. Or Khalil if you're playing Japanese.
Oh, true.
Oh, okay, Marshall.
I think next turn you're gonna have to equip a spear, and that's because like Marcia is actually one short of killing a lot of the Wyvern Riders in this map with the Forged Javelin, so we do need the +1 might from the spear.
I think the bigger issue is the warriors because the
oh yeah, the warriors.
Oh
Yeah,
what
the warriors are like, oh, what? You can miss?
Wait, what?
What? That's a first.
This happened to me the other day too. I guess I'm cursed. I don't know.
I know. After all those, we got like 100 million crits and super good luck, but no, now we're cursed.
One
Well,
bad thing happened.
we have Tanith nearby, I guess. She's not gonna do anything else, right?
I mean,
Probably.
She'll
well, she's
die.
carrying Rayson.
Well, actually, can Ike make it to that sage by just walking around the cat? I'm not sure. We'll have to.
Maybe.
We'll see.
What would you do? Sonic Sword? I don't know.
I mean, if the hit rate isn't 100, then your hit rate isn't 100.
No, we can just go around him. Lol.
Oh,
Okay.
fair enough. All right.
It works out.
We were being
I
really
guess
dramatic over
we just
nothing.
have to make sure that everyone else is outside of that cat range, I guess.
Yep. Well, I mean, if he attacks Moram, that's fine because Moram will just kill him. So, whatever.
It's more about Tanith that I might be concerned about, but we'll see.
I mean, you just like run Tanith away, right? Like,
Yeah. Good job, Largo. Boop.
bonk.
Bonk. His animation's so fast. I love it. It's just a casual little hand axe swing. Bonk.
And he's got this cool kind of like wolf hat and cape thing. It's kind of neat.
Oh no. 2 damage.
Oh, 2 damage on
Oh,
Morim.
no.
Oh no.
On our tiger. We only have 43 health left now. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to survive the cat if he attacks him. I'm really scared.
We never really talked about Morim, but he's another tiger, just like Mordecai. They're a Laguz. For the purposes of the speedrun, they're just shove bots. That is an unfortunate miss.
Rip.
Yeah, we'll just have to kill that guy. Like, we'll just have to take an extra turn here because of that, but it's not.
Yeah, I think you can lose 1 turn and be fine. If you lose 2 turns, reinforcements will spawn, and that's really bad. If I remember. But, well, we'll see.
Oh. It's fair enough. We have a whole extra turn, right? So. Morim is like. This doesn't really make Morim unique, although I guess in the context of the speedrun it makes him unique. He joins with an item called the Demiband. Normally the Laguz have this kind of like gauge mechanic where they need to build up their Laguz gauge while in human form, and then when at full gauge they transform into their animal and can fight until their gauge depletes, and then they're in their worthless human form again. Morim just has this item called the Demiband, which makes him always transformed. His transformation is like a little bit weaker as a result, but like who cares? Basically, he's still fine enough. As you can see, he still kills this cat. So I'd say it's like not really unique, because theoretically you could just trade this Demiband onto any Laguz if you desire, but you know, going and menuing takes actions. So how about instead you just kind of like leave it on him and use him?
Yeah, Morim is just like a really good user of the Demiband, so it's pretty convenient anyways.
Yeah, he also happens to be like kind of your strongest Laguz at this point in the game anyway, so like might as well. It's like him or Ranulf,
nice
right?
crit.
But...
Another very necessary crit. Thank you.
Yeah.
That poor bishop.
That bishop was definitely going to survive this 21 strength Largo short axe coming in, right? So.
Oh, that warrior at the top is probably going to go left.
Ooh. There's no healer though, right? So.
No, but he can't go right because of the boulder.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I've seen this happen before. Yeah, I've seen this happen before. I know that. I think I can reach him eventually. So
yeah, I think it's
fine.
It's happened before. I'm pretty sure it's fine. So he'll just like walk up and then die to Ike like a turn after this.
Ike, good.
Doubling a sword master, because sword masters are a complete joke in this game. Well, I mean, the enemies are at least.
Fun fact: in the Japanese version of the game, swordmasters, snipers, and berserkers do not get a crit bonus. In the English version of the game, they all get 10 crit.
Oh.
I did not know that you could move that far.
The Sonic Sword or something, right? I guess.
Yeah, and hope she doesn't miss. Question mark?
He didn't move.
Oh, he didn't move. Okay.
For a second, I thought this was later Fire Emblem games. Oh wow, where
That's a problem.
I should not have attacked at one range.
Don't miss.
Issue.
Gaming.
Okay.
I think she might die
Alright.
if she gets it again. Well,
Cross your fingers.
Cross your fingers. Okay,
oh,
you can reach.
what?
Oh.
Yeah, he can't reach because she's like above the cliff or whatever.
Mute's just that good at video games.
Yeah,
right?
I did that on purpose, clearly. I was just faking being surprised by that.
This is all intended.
Anyway, this was Chapter 25, Strange Lands, not to be confused with Chapter 8, Strange Land.
That was totally a fine Chapter 25. Nothing went wrong. That was not scary at all.
So we got a new unit named Alencia. She's the princess that we've been protecting in secret. Well, not in secret, but we've been protecting her this entire game, basically.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that part of the story.
Yeah, we're trying to help her reclaim her country. And she's really useful because she's another free 9-move flyer with terrible combat, but she can use saves. And she is the only unit in the game who can use the rescue staff at base, basically.
How exactly does the rescue staff work?
So when you use the rescue staff, it teleports a distant unit up to the staff user. So we're gonna be seeing Mute user right here to move Marcia 3 tiles here. Alencia does have more magic than that, so she can rescue someone like 6 or 7 tiles away, but 3 tiles is enough. We don't need any more.
I was about to say, this seems like a pretty unambitious rescue here, like, you know.
Yeah. And Mute went ahead and equipped the Laguz guard that we got from Lucia, because we don't really care about bows anymore. We care about taking damage from Laguz. And like the rescue staff animation is pretty slow. You could say that we're better off using some shoves, but we need to keep Valencia safe, and we also don't want to deploy more units because all these enemy units, there's a lot of them. We want to stay out of combat.
Yeah, that's the next
And then
3
let's see
maps
how
here,
supplies.
is enemies moving. There'll be tons of enemies moving for the next 3 maps, so it'll be really exciting.
Get comfy. Yeah, there is a way to end this map in one less turn than what the speedrun does, but it's really unreliable because this boss has a weapon called a Ruin Sword, and he heals himself when he hits you. To save a turn, we have to have Marsha kill the boss in 1 round of combat, and also Ike sees. And if she gets hit by the boss, she doesn't kill him because he heals himself. So if you want like a minute of time save on the world record for English or Japanese version, you can try to go for that and have fun. By the way, he has over 80 hit, so that's a less than 10% chance of dodging. So have fun.
Just dodge an 80.
Yeah,
just
dodge an 80 displayed, so that's actually over 90%.
see. This is why like Kirby has the world records and you don't. Is Kirby dodges these attacks and you don't, right? So
Yeah, that's actually the world record. Is he actually did what the thing you just said that you could do to get the world record? So because he's lying.
should have thought about that really. Ugh.
Yeah, should have SMH.
Like when I watch Kirby, when I watch your videos and I see you dodge the Rune Sword, I'm like, man, why didn't I think of that?
To be clear, I did not do that. But yeah. So instead, we're gonna go ahead and have Marsha in range of the boss and have the boss attack Marsha first. Because if the boss is at full HP, he has no HP to heal. And then Marsha can just weaken the boss enough so that she can just finish off the boss without a counterattack on the next turn.
Thankfully, the AI is dumb, and even though they could definitely kill Marsha right now, they decided to mostly attack Ike because he doesn't have... Actually, no, a lot of these guys couldn't reach Marsha, couldn't they? But some of them who can reach Marsha definitely will attack Ike because Fire Emblem AI. Just
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And this is why we don't want to deploy more units, you know. Yeah, kind of sketchy.
This map in Maniac mode is pretty infamous
ow.
for having, like, tons of enemies everywhere that are really hard to kill, and it's generally not very fun.
You get so many enemies that you will literally run out of weapons if you try to kill everything. It's so bad.
Yeah, also this game doesn't have an enemy unit cap, so you can actually get like over 100 enemies, I think, on the map just sitting there.
Ugh. I played Maniac mode once, never again. I don't recommend.
It seems like the kind of thing you do once just to like, you know, just to say you've done it.
Yeah, if someone here wants to play Maniac mode for the first time and you want to commit to it, at least please use the crit forge glitch. Like, it is... the game is just such a slog without it. Just do it. Just use a crit undervolt glitch. Save yourself time. Casual time.
Bye, Bertram.
Bye, Bertram. We will not see you again in Radiance on.
Nope.
Yeah, he's totally dead, just like Oliver. You won't see him again.
Just like all the people.
Yeah.
Just like Haveti, the boss from chapter 3. We'll never see him again.
Yeah, so this is a really big seas map, and we also have a side objective to make to grab the Resolve Scroll, which is purely just for the final boss. And the Resolve Scroll, it buffs all your stats if you're at 50% HP or lower. You might remember, we also got the Wrath Scroll, which gives you 50 crit if you're at 50% HP or lower. So they complement each other very nicely. But we are gonna grab Joffrey, because we kind of want a bulky mounted 9-move unit to help Marsha along. He can't quite keep up, but he can help clear the path for her, and then eventually grab the Resolve Scroll for us. And he's by far like our bulkiest unit, not named Marsha. So he also has the Night Ward equipped, which is +2 defense, +2 res, which is very nice. Stack that with the Pure Water, and you have yourself a pretty bulky paladin, which is pretty nice.
I actually dodged the Swordmaster, wow.
Well, the promoted enemies in this game have like pretty trash stats too, right? So is it normal difficulty that still has the like fail to level up and unpromoted class glitch? I think it does on normal.
I think so? I don't remember. I haven't looked into that.
So normally you would expect promoted enemies to be way more dangerous than unpromoted enemies. But I actually, now that I think about it, I'm dead sure that this exists in normal mode too. But there's actually kind of a oversight in the promoted enemies where you know, they should be getting 10 levels or so in their unpromoted class, and then promoting, and then getting their levels in their promoted class. But for some reason, they skip the levels in their unpromoted class, so they're just like really weak and don't have any stats whatsoever. And there are no like unpromoted enemies on this map, but there were in some of the earlier ones. And like if you actually compare them, the unpromoted enemies are just like strictly better, like way scarier than the promoted ones.
In the map with Anna, there's like a armor knight boss at the north side that we skipped. It's kind of funny if you play maniac mode because I think he has like the same stats, but all the generals around him all have like capped stats. It's pretty funny.
It's like, well, I get a nice break fighting all these generics, and I can fight this boss instead.
It reminds me in chapter 23, the bridge chapter, like the warriors were doubled by Marsha while she was holding Ike, but the fighters were not. I assume that's why that happened there, was because of that glitch or whatever.
Oh, I never noticed.
Yeah, although the warriors in that map are like super wimpy, and the fighters like actually kind of kick your butt. I'm like, oh boy.
I thought that was because they had the poison axe, which like weighed them down less, but apparently that's not the case, so that's interesting.
Anyway, so this is Jeffrey's job. He needs to, you know, off this guy.
Good job, Quimpage.
Thank you.
And doing a little bit of inventory management to make sure that Joffrey has chest key and also is not equipped with a one-range weapon because that's slow. We don't want to counter.
Also, he could die if we do that.
Yeah. Because if he has a one-range weapon and starts killing stuff at all the Laguz, then he leaves more space for other Laguz to reach him, and we like to call that suffering from success. So.
It's a problem every Fire Emblem player knows well. You know, if you don't kill the cat, then the cat's blocking all of the other enemies from attacking, but sometimes you just kill everything until a million enemies attack you.
Yeah, it's a uniquely... Are you saying unique to game SRPGs where the counter-attack mechanic exists? If that was not a thing, then that would not really be something to think about. But...
Oh yeah, Marsha has a Brave Lance. Joffrey joined with it, and a Brave Lance just lets you attack twice per hit, which is really important because you can kind of see her offense is kind of lacking without it, so we kind of need the extra hits.
Yeah, the brave weapons in this game all have like unique animations also for attacking twice in a row. I don't know why they couldn't make all the normal animations that fast, but it is
I think
nice.
it's the same as Adept, because Adept also does that.
Oh.
Like you have a unique doubling animation, the same as brave weapons.
Yeah, but this is kind of reaching the point in the game where Marsha is like kind of running out of gas, so to speak, and is not really enough to be killing things. So we need to be like using this Brave Lance, but the Brave Lance is about to break, so like she's sort of reaching the end of her usefulness lifespan as far as her combat is concerned. But thankfully, there's only like this map and the next left in the game.
Yep.
So
we only have like 2 maps left after this. Hafed is the boss. He has his own Brave Lance. He has Miracle, meaning again you take half damage if you take a lethal hit. Well, you have a chance to take only half damage from a lethal blow. And he has a Night Ward, which is +2 defense, +2 res. He is incredibly bulky. He is very dangerous. Ow. Ow. Okay. And so I guess we'll see if Marsha finishes him. Because he could Miracle twice, and we're screwed if it happens.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. So we'll have to redo the entire map if that happens. And it would be not very exciting having to watch all this again.
Yeah.
just Path of Radiance things.
A little bit of a buzzkill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess the best choice is to use the Brave Lance on him just in case he miracles the first one. I think. Even though the Brave Lance is less hit, but it should still
I don't remember. That would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, if he slams you back with double Brave Lance in the next turn, it'd be... That would kind of suck a little bit.
It should be kind of dead.
I think he does exactly 13 damage per hit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you do die.
Oh, he's dead.
Okay,
Nope.
we're good.
Fair enough. Oof, that was close.
Now we
were
get to the big fight of the game, the Black Knight, who is our father's murderer. And
Our epic
we get to fight him.
nemesis.
Yep, our epic nemesis. And he has even has his own theme. It's pretty epic.
It's like the most important boss battle in the series, really.
Yeah, we're
Alright,
just gonna
cool,
leave
see ya.
immediately.
Right, so yeah.
Alright, bye.
Unfortunately, it would be fun to like actually fight him there, but I just didn't really plan for it, and we yeah, we're just not. So yeah.
If you want a consistent way to beat him, assuming you have the right HP benchmarks, you want to have like Wrath and Adept on Ike. That gives you like roughly 80% chance to kill him, give or take. I did like all this math around it and have a giant Reddit post on it.
Yeah.
But that assumes that one hit from the Black Knight brings you down to Wrath health. If he doesn't, then you're generally better off using Ether instead.
And even then, there's not even like, you know, a 100% reliable way to do it. Even if you have the best possible setup, you're still kind of chancing it, right? So
like you can never have it 100%, but you can have it pretty close, reliable enough. But yeah, I have to step out. I have to leave. But thanks for having me on commentary, and good luck with the last 2 maps.
All right,
for sure. Thank you. Good to have you in.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Oh,
See you around, Mute.
yeah, see ya.
So the last 2 maps are pretty simple. This one is just a Seas map, right? And I mean, we've seen these before. Marcia goes to the square. Ike now is promoted and has the Ragnell, right? So will he be doing some extra combat, or I guess you haven't put Wrath Resolve yet, have you?
Yes, he'll be like fighting some of the guys here so that we just clear the way basically. Because what we want to happen is we want Marcia to fail to kill some of the enemies so she doesn't like take forever, and also like increase her chance of dying, because if she kills all the enemies around her, she'll get attacked by the dragons and have a higher chance of dying, which we don't want to happen, of course, because Ike is better at tanking them because he has much higher defense, because of the Ragnell giving him 5 defense. And then we kind of just sit here for like 2 minutes watching this combat. It will be it'll be peak Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, where we like have to hear like the enemy phase goes on so long we hear the enemy phase theme loop. It's very amazing. Also, if this guy doesn't die, actually no, if that guy doesn't die it's okay, but if this guy dies, I think it's fine. I think it's only if the Rune Sword guy dies but this guy doesn't die, then the spear guy that just attacked will like move in the way, and then we'll have to just reset the map if that happens, because
it's like a total disaster. Yeah,
because what happens is when at the start of the next turn, there will be some tigers that spawn in front of the boss, and if someone is next to where the tiger normally spawns, as in the enemy that would be right there, like 1 down, 1 right from where the boss is standing, the tiger will instead spawn in front of the boss, so it means you can't kill 2 enemies in 1 turn and then seize with only 2 units, so then you kind of just be upset, you just cry there, I guess, or give up.
Yeah,
but that did not happen.
And so we explained this whole entire variation, and now it said Marcia just has to live.
Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't kill this cat. That'd be nice if she didn't. Please stop critting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, whew, that was close. Yeah, and so Ike just has like totally good offensive stats as a result of the Ragnell and as a result of all the bonus XP we've been putting into him in this entire time.
Yeah, he even one-shot that Swordmaster.
It's kind of crazy.
Okay, that's about as ideal as it could have went. She cannot be attacked by anyone else because dragons in this game only have 1 range, so they can only attack Ike now, and Ike can take them just fine, so there's not really anything scary that can happen here. Well, he can't. It does look a little bit scary, but like nothing else can attack him except for the hawk there, which can't do any damage, so it's fine.
Just bop the hawk, fair enough.
I don't think he has any chance of missing, because I think the Ragnell has a really good hit rate, but I'm not entirely sure either way. I've never seen it miss. No,
I mean, he's also got like 24 skill, 17 luck. That kind of helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. Hawks aren't particularly fast either. Yeah, we didn't mention Joffrey just sitting here in the corner, like preventing Rayson from dying. It's very convenient, like, alley in the trees there, I guess.
And then we seize and on to the final map in the game.
Yep. This one is going to be much faster than the last few, which all took like forever, so it's nice, I guess.
Yeah, so at the end of this, we have to fight and defeat Ashnard, who is the current king of Dan. Dan is the country that invaded our own country at the start, and, you know, we've been keeping this princess safe from her the whole time. Ashnard is normally, like, actually a pretty tricky fight, especially if you set up Ike with his canonical skill Ether. Ether is the move he uses in Smash. It's his up B, I think, right? However, we're not giving him that. We gave him, I believe, Wrath and Resolve.
Yeah.
And so Wrath is a skill that says when at or below 50% HP, you get plus 50 crit. And Resolve says when at or below 50% HP, you get, I think your strength, speed, and skill are multiplied by 1.5. So suddenly you deal a ton of damage, you always hit, you probably crit, and you definitely double. So you should be fine against this guy, right? That's the moral of the story.
Mm-hmm. Does it multiply all of those, or is it just strength and speed? I don't remember, but it does really cool stuff. So I think otherwise it's not possible to double Ashnard without that, but I don't remember. Either way, it's really important because otherwise we would not be able to kill him. You'll notice it. Well, actually, you won't be able to notice it unless Ike dodges Ashnard. So yeah, whatever. Whoops! Why did I do that? Whatever.
No. Oh yeah, Tanith died, by the way. So.
Yeah, rip Tanith. She died for speed, I guess.
Died for speed. Died to move these Armor Knights out of the way, so that we could make this play here.
We could just barely make it over here with Rayson by... Well, actually, we probably could have rescued him farther if we needed to, but either way, this is as far as we need to go. And Rayson will definitely die here if we don't immediately kill the boss when he attacks us. So, well, actually, we can just... Wait, how? Whatever. I'll just... I was gonna think of turning on animations right now. I don't know how long we've been taking, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you could just hold down Z, right? Or
actually, oh yeah, sure. Sure, we'll just... Wait, what? Okay, there we go. Oh, wait, actually, this will be really bad if we actually don't kill him right now. So maybe I shouldn't have done that, but oh well.
Oh well.
At that point, it'll be faster to just reset the map.
Yeah, no, with all these animations we're going to see. All right, well, anyway, Wrath Resolve, and...
All right, he's dead.
See you. All right, bye. That's the game. GG.
Wow, what a epic song we get to hear for like 5 seconds as he instantly dies. So if he would have crit there without Resolve there, I think it would have done like 20 damage or something, whereas like if he has Resolve there, he just dies. So it's quite a big difference, it seems like.
Yeah, 1.5 times strength is not 1.5 times damage.
Oh yeah, also that's time.
Oh yeah, that's time. We should have mentioned that. Yes, GG, well played.
Yep, thanks for the GGs. Well, the credits in this game take incredibly long, but we can just sit here for as long as we need to, I guess.
Yeah, I think I turned my emulator on like, 5 times speed up, and it still takes me like 10 minutes to get through, right? So.
Yeah, I think like this getting to the actual like end of game results in this game takes like 20 minutes of unskippable like dialogue at the end here. It's a bit ridiculous, but so you're not gonna get to see those probably unless we take that long, I guess.
But yeah, no, that was Path of Radiance normal mode, and I believe 2 hours 10 minutes, including several minutes of Ike promoting and taking too long. So not too bad. Well done. Thank you very much, Mute.
Thanks for commentating and stuff, and also everyone watching, and the people who invited me to play this game on this marathon. I don't know the correct word there, whatever. I'll just I'm not sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
How are we doing on schedule? So I think some mods or admins are coming in to help us out with that. But we have the incredibly long, unskippable, slow text.
It's basically like the game is telling us, oh, now we've defeated, well, I don't know, that sounds a bit memey to say we defeated racism, but like basically the game is saying like the Bjork and Laguz are working to rebuild the stuff that happened in the war and everything, and it's supposed to be like happy ending, but actually this is not the actual ending of this story.
Yeah, it only lasts like for like what, 3 years, and then 3 years later there's a whole other conflict that's Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
Yeah,
and it's this big epic story that engulfs the entire continent.
Yeah, it's a longer game than this game, but it is also a separate game from this game, so meaning you will not see it right now, of course.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, getting into a Radiant Dawn run would take like, you know, several additional hours. So
Probably not
yeah,
enough
Tanith
time.
died for this. It's a spot where Tanith died, so
That's why the
and we have
camera should
this
be.
whole big plot exposition from this guy who should still be in jail, really, but I guess canonically Volk let him out of jail or something. I don't know.
I think he just broke out himself. Like, if you look at his stats, he has like really high everything, so he can probably just like break the door or something if he wanted.
Oh yeah, well it doesn't have a weapon equipped, so he can't do it, right?
Yeah, he has to have a weapon.
Yeah, no, we don't have 3 houses unarmed combat yet, so.
I don't know why they did this. They did this in like one of the GBA games too, where they had like this incredibly slow, unskippable dialogue that goes out like you have to watch it like play out each letter by letter. I don't know why, but they just decided to do this for a few games, and I think everyone hates it. So it's probably good that they stopped doing it.
This seems like a pretty common trend of like Nintendo games at the time, right? Like I think I remember some Pokemon game kind of did this as well, where there was like some really obnoxiously long like dialogue, or maybe I'm misremembering, but I definitely remember the slow text thing and being like, oh, another one of these games. But maybe it's just the Fire Emblems from GBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the reason we're sitting through this is, you know, for one, we got a bit of extra time on the schedule, and two, it gives us the battle results at the end. So it shows us the time it took in each map as well as like who got the most kills. So the kill results is definitely Marcia and then Titania, right?
Yeah.
Easy, yeah.
I think Marcia's like 200 kills or something. Maybe not that much because it's a speed run, but at least 100 or something, I think.
Oh, yeah, this was... Maybe I was thinking of the Gen 4 health bar, so I was looking at chat.
Alright, well, I guess we're done for now, and
Yeah.
hope you look forward to the next run, which I think is Soul Hackers 2. But anyway, this was fun. I'm glad Raisins and Kirby helped me commentate this, because it is kind of difficult to commentate while playing sometimes if you're like trying to explain a lot of things. So I'm very thankful for having them here, and I'll let Raisins say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah, it was a joy to be on. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, alright. Well, that's it. So,
Be seeing you.
bye.